I don't believe trade is the main driver of that, but I'll grant that it does happen sometimes.
Who cares about bringing in money? Okay, the whole idea of running like a business.
I don't really think it's something that you should take.
The argument against charging people rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, typically the philosophical argument.
That's a legitimate criticism. Because, I mean, you look at why USA was even invented.
I don't know. Like, I think a recurring theme or a recurring trend is that
less and less government. I want personal responsibility. I want personal accountability.
Say that I'm like left of liberal. I don't identify like a communist or this or any of this stuff. Probably like a why would that be revelatory to know that water boils in?
About people who are diplomats or ambassadors from other.
Did I say that? Did I say that it was theoretically possible to include like it increase?
Natural society is a society where it's survival of.
You can. What you're describing, you can't do. It's, first of all, not what I'm talking about. Second of all, we can't.
So basically, like, even your Lord and Savior Donald Trump didn't do the best job.
That nature, you refer to it as being conscious, or the conscious community.
So I think that gay marriage at the Constitution and the Supreme Court level actually.
No, but my man just is in the building.
And I find it very interesting that fellow believers are.
For their examples, but these are minor examples compared to the ones that I'm giving. I'm putting down two.
It's unconstitutional, they shouldn't do it. But now they're arguing about, well, if they do it.
Including with your little blonde hair. Yeah, that's what your mom said last night too.
Let's ignore USAID. That's obviously upsetting you, and I get that because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live something a little different this evening. We're not necessarily going into a throwdown per se, but we are going to have a nice little interview in town hall with Andy Daro, a congressional candidate from Florida. Andy, welcome to the platform. We're going to try to spin you off in a wonderful way. You are actually, your campaign manager is Shaman Omar, who is a regular here on this show. So hopefully we can help kick you off in a good direction. Andy, tell them just who you are, where you're from, what you're about, what's going on. Why are you here?
Sarah, thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Andy Daro. I've been a local councilman, a commissioner in Miami in an island called North Bay Village for the last 4 years. On top of that, I've been a real estate professional. I have a team at Compass. I have about 20 agents that work on my team. I've been in real estate for about 15 years and have served in North Bay Village for the last 4. North Bay Village is, again, an island community in Miami. We've seen a ton of growth over the past 4 years. We've approved over $4 billion worth of development coming to the island, amongst many other things. And now we're running for Congress in the 24th District of Florida as an independent.
Perfect. I mean, that's pretty simple and to the point. Now, I noticed your slogan when I went and I checked out your website, and it said faith in America, right? And at first, one side of my brain said faith in America, like with some kind of religious concept. Are we Christian pushing, so on and so forth? And then the other side of my brain fired off and said faith in America, like I have faith in America, right? And then I thought, wow, you could twofold this. Is it a twofold? Is it one side? Is it the other side? Which way are we going with this?
Yeah, it's both sides. Absolutely, you understood it. So first and foremost, I love America. I always have. I believe in America. I'm a strong, patriotic American. So we need to have faith in our country, and that that we can turn things around for the better, and that continue to play my role, whatever that may be. And then also, I am a man of faith, Christian background. I think that is it provides a strong, moral compass for the way that I would like to lead. So that is important to who I am, and I bring that into the campaign as much as I can as well.
Okay, so if I could say, what is the main driver? What is the main thing you really want to focus on with this seat?
Well, the main thing. I mean, there's a few main things. First and foremost, running as an independent I want to bring awareness that right now, we are a very divided nation, and I don't think that there needs to be just two options in America. Our Constitution wasn't set up with Republicans and Democrats. Actually, our forefathers, they warned, George Washington specifically warned against this, that the two-party would divide America. It would allow foreign influence and lobbyists to kind of control the government, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. If we just had independent, strong candidates who could vote issue by issue rather than party lines, I think it would solve a lot of problems in America. So that's first, that is a big principle of the campaign.
Okay, that's a fair. Now, would you consider that like a fence writing type of position, or it's simply just because we should vote policy to policy, issue to issue? Because I think some people could see that as fence sitting, don't want to take claim to either side, so on and so forth, or avoiding either side on purpose. How would you pick that apart?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'd have to take a look at what issue, right? I'm not a fence sitter. I can be very decisive. Maybe, we might have disagreements, or, there might, but I'll always kind of vote with what I believe is right, whether, not what my party thinks, and too many issues today. I mean, continually in Congress, we're seeing issues that are, they're voted party lines. If for whatever reason you have a stance against your party, it could be against the Epstein files and pedophilia, which we all know is wrong. If you take that stance against that, you're a traitor to the party. That's wrong. I mean, that's a clear stance. That's an easy. That's black and white. That's right and wrong that anybody can agree. So I mean, really, let's take a look at the issues. It's not meant to be a fence-sitting position. It's just meant to take people over party. To take. To not have any allegiancy to any party, but rather the American people, and an issue by issue.
How can people say what team you're on then, right? Which team would you claim? I know, obviously you're independent. I get that, but when they are voting for you, right? A lot of people, I get it. They want to vote per team. I mean, do independents make it very far in the voter challenge and the voter stance? Because typically we get to the point where it runs down to Democrat versus Republican, typically, right? Yeah. So what would push that ahead of the game? Because people like to pick teams.
Yeah. First of all, Team America. I think that is the team. And, I think right now, more than ever, we're seeing people alienated by these two parties, right? I think the MAGA movement was strong, but a lot of people have alienated themselves from MAGA and don't feel associated, with whatever it is, the wars or, everything that is going on in the party. I think, a lot of people, I think the Democratic Party has been losing a lot of its centrist for a long time. These people don't have a place. These people don't have a place to go. So I actually think it is the silent majority at the moment that are in the middle, that are looking for a centrist, and trying to provide a home for them. And yeah, historically, independents have not won elections, but I think we're definitely growing in that direction. If it's not today, I do think independents are going to win elections, whether it's 2, 4, 8 years. I strongly believe that this is the future.
Okay. So tell me your policies. What is your biggest policy right now or issue on hand that you would want to tackle immediately?
Sure. We have 3 acts that we plan to pass as early as day one if elected into Congress. It is the End Foreign Influence Act, it's the Restore America Act, and it's a Public Trust Act. So the 3 acts can take you through basically the core concepts of each act. The End Foreign Influence Act, I think, speaks for itself, but it's foreign, no foreign lobby government should have any more influence over of America than the American people. We need to that needs to stop. I think we've seen that.
Yeah, what would you say kind of kicked that off? What inspired that type of act?
Well, I think we see too many congressmen currently, they're influenced by foreign PACs and foreign dollars, and this is happening. This is happening across. If you look at who's follow the money. Follow the money and see who is being influenced. By foreign lobbyists. I think that's telling enough in itself.
And what particularly are they influencing in America right now? Or can you pinpoint it, or is this like a generalization?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, let's look at we're fighting wars in different countries that necessarily aren't ours, right? So I think that is not, when you poll the majority of American people, I think overwhelmingly that's not what we want to see. That's not where we want to see our tax dollars go. And it's a lot of tax dollars, right? I mean, we have needs right here at home. It should be America first always. These tax dollars should be going to improve our infrastructure, improve our, affordability is another thing in America that's out of control right now. Number one thing when I talk to people in my district, they're all talking about affordability right now. So that is, that's a core component. We need to strengthen our government right here at home. And one way to do it is stop spending money overseas. Keep the tax dollars here in America.
Now, what about wars? Would you still be pro-war if it was necessary? I heard you say that you wouldn't necessarily want us to be in a war that's not ours, but what if we did need to go on our own behalf?
Yeah, I mean, look, if someone is here on American soil and is endangering to American people, I'll be one of the first to join this action and defend America as well. But we've had head of our intelligence and defense system having to resign recently, saying that we're not, these wars weren't a threat to the American people. So yeah, I mean, look, it's I'm definitely one that would look for diplomatic solutions first on all cases, of course. So leading with diplomacy, would be my first action. But if it, what's mandatory? Sure. I mean, if you really have to defend yourself, you have to, you need to defend yourself. That remains an important component of America, and why we're able to remain so strong.
Even outside of defense mechanisms, what would you say about like going to war over oil or other resources? Is that something that you would stand on?
No, going to war over resources shouldn't be something I think that is worth dying for. First of all, America has many of our own resources right here, that are untapped in America.
So our reserves, we have a lot of reserves.
A lot. So I mean, we have, when you talk, we have everything we need right here in America. And then also, when we're talking to resources, there's so much more that is growing now with renewable, right? I mean, in Florida specifically, solar, wind. So there's a lot of renewables too, but no, I mean, resources is not something that I think warrants war.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that give us an upper hand though? If we keep our reserves in reserve, right, and we tap into other people's, wouldn't that be kind of keeping us on the upper hand against the others to say like, well, we don't necessarily need your stuff, but we can certainly use it. So being able to maintain control, like we just saw oh my God, I lost the word. Hermuz,
yeah, the Strait of Hormuz.
Hold on, my brain just stopped working. Yeah, that like we're seeing all of this come into play, and obviously there's a lot of resources over there that we can tap into, and even just the strait alone is a resource, right, for travel, for shipping, for movement of and transportation of our economy basically can maneuver that way. So stuff along those lines, is that still worthy of a cause to you to still maintain access to the global market per se?
Yeah, I mean, I think we, in my opinion, I think we had access flowing well before the war, right? I mean, the war, it was the war that caused more of the inflationary problems with our resources and what we've seen happen. It wasn't, before the war, you weren't seeing $5 a gallon at the pump. Now you are. So I mean, it's war's done the opposite. When it comes to what the people care about with their wallets and affordability, when it comes to having our natural and our energy sources and our resources here in America. So clearly, to me, that doesn't seem like the solution, the best solution to strengthen America.
Okay, fair enough. What are your thoughts on the all of the data centers that are coming in right now? Since we're on the topic of resources, well, that's a lot of energy. It's a lot of water push. Where are we going there?
Yeah, so I mean, Florida Governor DeSantis has recently, he's taken a strong stance about not allowing data centers to come into Florida. From what I understand, it has been detrimental to our energy sources, our water sources, and it doesn't seem like it's it's the best place for them to be in our backyards. At the same time, AI is here. I mean, it is a big part of our future, and I think America does need to be at the front of this AI, at this AI race, because I do think that it can help. It is helping a lot of people. It is helping a lot of people, and it's uncontrolled. We're not going to stop it at this point. So, being able to.
I think in one way it's very helpful. We can utilize it. The way it's utilized, there's a tool even in robotics and so on and so forth. We see the Tesla cars, yada, yada, yada. I think AI is a strong generator in this aspect. But also it's kind of also making the common person more dumb. By way of, I don't have to do my homework. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to find other resources. I just go to a Grok or ChatGPT or another, AI source. So we're seeing two things happen here. Oh, is there an alarm? We got a fire alarm?
There's a fire. Sorry, that's unfortunate.
Is it just a drill? It might just be a drill.
It might be. I'm in my office. It shouldn't be. Is it?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tuck you backstage. You guys go figure it out, and then just wave me down when you're ready, and I'll just talk to the chat while you guys sort that out. That way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate it.
It's okay. It happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, interrupted by the fire drill. Who set that off? Somebody's down there starting some fun. I'm kidding. They're really not. But no, fire drills happen. And if we're in an office and we got to figure it out and make sure that they're cleared out and able to maneuver and get out of there or figure out what we have to do. So we're going to give them a few minutes. In the meantime, I'll give you a short rundown about Vegas. There is some more upcoming debates that will happen. Sorry, I've had stuff in my eyes all night. I haven't slept yet, by the way. We've been busy dealing with Nick's at the vet all day. So I haven't slept. I got off the show last night. I laid down for about an hour and I got back up again. So it happens. I'm here. I'm here for you. Also, we will open up the floor for Q&A whenever we get through the interview. We'll open up and we'll do some more Q&A portion. So you'll be able to come on and ask Andy questions or have any thought processes to anything he says this evening. We're not going to do bloodsport tonight, so let me make that clear now. Tonight will be town hall style respectful discourse. Of course, you're allowed to debate, but we're not going bloodsport, just for the warning. So if you do have questions, start writing them down, start taking your notes, and when we are ready, we will drop that link into the live chat and you will be able to jump on and ask your questions. Vegas, we do have some new dates confirmed. I'm not telling them to you yet. So if you get over to the Sleepy Tomato, we'll do a show either tomorrow or Sunday night, depending on that. And I will actually give a whole entire rundown. We've got a lot of big names coming up, and I'll talk about those when we get there on the Sleepy Tomato. But super excited, and a potential Mater meetup out in Vegas. So pack your bags, Maters. Tap into your savings accounts. All right. You're all going to Vegas, and I know you want to, but we'll talk about those details again on the Sleepy Tomato. All right. Shout out to the chat. Let me actually run through some super chats because we've already had some come in. So we'll get through those for now. And we'll go through that. And I have no idea how long he's going to be or how this goes. Okay. Yeah. No, they legit are having a fire alarm. So, all right. Number one, Mr. Tom Carpenter sent on the Cash App a big $100 to kick off our evening. So shout out to you, Mr. Tom Carpenter. He says, rock around the clock tonight. He always sends like interesting little things. So shout out to you. And thank you so much. And in the meantime, Based Moon enjoying their new membership. And also, Tom Carpenter has a little play on words for Faith in America. We have faith in the chat. And then, of course, James comes in with a really good question. And I will ask this to him later, asking, curious how you were able to get on the ballot as an independent. I know ballot access laws generally favor the two major parties and keeps third-party candidates off the ballot. So shout out to you. I will ask that question to him later, James. Chat, first and foremost, it is, wait, what? Hold on. It's legit like a building fire alarm. We'll work through it, guys. I promise. You know, when you have a live show, you have to anticipate crazy things like this happening. Let's send some shout outs to everyone in the chat. I see Krauts out there. Brick's out there. Brick, I 110% expect you to be up there alongside Kraut. The both of you are very in this realm of things. Hi, Farley. Thank you for the compliment. And of course, Uncle Guns is my veteran wrench over here, keeping it real and also continuing to drop Andy's website into the chat. So if you want to find him, you can find that there. Hello to you, Effigy, Zorro. Welcome. Of course, Tom. Thunder Chicken, interesting name. God's favorite aunt, welcome back. I expect to see you up here too with some questions. It's hard because running as an independent, where does the pushback come from? So are you ready back there? Yes or no? Yes or no? You just do a up or down. No. Okay. Yeah. Keep going. Take your time. And of course, James was cheating on us last night. He was over in Ilkhan Ali's chat, sending love over there, but he wasn't sending over here. But he's going to make up for it tonight. We know it. We just know it. Let's see who else we got here. What? I didn't even set a goal because I love you guys too much. Let's see. Howard. Hello to you. Hail Odin, Howard. Thunder Chicken. All right. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. Balderson are backstage per usual, hanging tight. They are there as my handy dandy backup crew and just moral support. I love you guys for that. LG, Dago. Welcome, my friend. Let's see who else is over here. I think I got the bulk of you. I think I got the bulk of you on that side. I think there's some other people over in the other chat too. Oh, good question. James, pardon me. James has another good question. It says, why did you choose to run for U.S. Congress versus a member of Florida legislator? I like it. Very good question. These are great. See, and I can either incorporate these within my, see, you're asking all the good questions on the front end. And then I don't have the credit of asking great questions because you're already asking them in the chat. Shout out to you, maters. It is Friday night. I hope you're all doing well. Tell me in the chat why you were home on a Friday night watching a show. Because it's Friday night, it's summertime. You should all be out on the boats. You should be all out sitting on your decks, or maybe you're sitting on the deck watching this show from your phone. Either way, throw tomatoes in the chat for all of those who want to hang out with us on a good Friday night. And a little Nyx update, because I had posted over on the Sleepy Tomato, she has a giant hole in her leg, right? Nyx is a dog, for those of you who don't know. Hi, sirs. But she has a giant hole in her leg, and it's been an issue for about a month. And that I've been to like 4 different doctors, and they're all ping-ponging me back and forth. Like, it's this, no, it's this, no, we can't do this, no, we should do this. And everybody's kind of going the opposite directions. And finally today, I think we got to the source of the problem. It was significantly cheaper than I thought it was going to be, because at first the way they were making it sound was that we would have to redo her knee surgery all over again. That was the big issue, is it stemming from her knee surgery? And it's not. So we're happy. Nyx is home, healthy. She's all sutured up. She's all, the hole is all cleaned out and good looking and fresh, and she'll be healing over the next couple weeks. And she should be back on track and up and running. So lots of love to Nyx. She's very grateful for all of you who enjoyed her little donut. It's a donut cone. And all of those things that I posted over on the Sleepy Tomato. She enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We made fun videos. It's good. All right. Now here I am. Now you've been watching The Last Ship. What is The Last Ship? The last ship left? You just got off work? Well, we only just begun. You have time to back up and then watch on 2X until you catch up. And I think they're still dealing with the fire alarm backstage. So we're just going to buy some time until they come back. And I have a feeling for editing purposes, it'll be better if I chop this video up and cut my whole self out of this mix. And then you have a nice clean video footage. But it happens, guys. Unfortunately, live streamers, even if you're live on stage, stuff like this happens, and you just have to work with it. Yes, she is one of 3 dogs. She's a beautiful mix. Her and her sister are Norwegian Elkhound, Blue Heeler, German Shepherd, and Australian Shepherd. That's all 4 breeds in one, and they're litter mates. So it's Nyx and Artemis. And Nyx she's just had a lot of leg issues. So no, I finally got to the point where I just let her sleep down there by herself. I didn't want to, but I could only tolerate so much. And here's my dad. Hello to my father. Hello, Grumpy Tomato. I miss you. I love you. He says he's home on a Friday night because that's what grandpops do to recuperate after spending a week and a half with his grandson. Yes, Pop was on Pop duty so that we, Mater Nation, could go out to Vegas. So everybody send tomatoes in the chat for the Grumpy Tomato, because if it weren't for him being able to do pop duty, I would not have the ability to go to Vegas now or in the future. So shout out to you, Dad. That was a big win for the Maters all around. And we're going to be doing another round. So I think he's got his schedule set in place and he's ready to go for another. I'm supposed to tell you guys that the Democrats are trying to stop their campaign. So they don't. So wait a minute. He's an independent, but he doesn't like the Democrats. The Democrats are out to get you. I think you're picking a side here, or at least close to it. Ooh, yeah. I think he just outed himself. Is it still going, Andy? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. He loves pop-up duty. He gets to teach his grandson bad. No, they went fishing. They went and saw big trains. They did some stuff at the church. It was super awesome. I was getting pictures all week from Pop Tomato of my son, and he just looked happy as a clown, and he loves it. He loves his pop time. The alarm is symbolic of the American problem. All right, but it's still going, right? Yeah. Oh, well, don't worry. We'll work with it. I'm not worried. We've had worse things happen here. All right. We've had way worse things happen here. Yeah. The whole building. Oh my God. Is there really a fire? Maybe there's really a fire. Why are you still in there? That's okay. Let's see. You're on the ground floor. Oh my gosh. There's got to be a real fire somewhere. I mean, are they even calling the fire department? The fire department is going to show up and be really irritated that you did not evacuate the building as you should have done. They're going to be so mad. All right. Question in the chat. If I told you, to our maters here at Mater Nation, if I told you I'm going to be in Vegas on a very specific date, would some of you or one of you or all of you be interested in joining us in Vegas for a little Mater meetup? That's what I want to know. I know that there obviously financially there'd be some things and so on and so forth. And some of you have kids and some of you have jobs and so on and whatever. But I want to kind of catch an interest level to your whether you would do it or not, or want to try to do it, because we might potentially have more dates. So yeah. What? I'm not putting that on the screen. Yeah, I'm very well known for my extra large mugs. I have one that's actually bigger than this, and it kind of makes my face look really tiny. It is my goal to build my tool collection to be bigger than yours. And how I'm going to do it is I'm going to take your tools, Father. I'm going to take all of your tools and I'm going to make them mine. Have you noticed I borrow one or two tools or things or drill bits at a time? Have you noticed I'm starting a collection, Dad? And eventually I will have gotten all of them. Every single one of them. Oh, no, he will not. Oh, absolutely no, he will not. Tom wants to go. Tom's in. Kraut wants to go. He wants to meet me, Spin, Ben, Clay. All right, Clay, you're being paged. Ben, I don't think can get out there until the fall. APAC heard about the End Foreign Influence Act. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Ben might not be able to get out there till the fall, but it is. I know Ben has an interest in going. So. Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't think that's going to work, Shaman. We can try it. I'm going to pop your thing on stage and come unmute it and let's see if we can still hear it. Can I? No.
Yeah. How's the sound?
Oh,
Sorry
God,
about that.
No, terrible.
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 Sorry.
Oh, it's terrible. Jack said, I saw Rattlesnake cover your appearance on Brian Shapiro, and I didn't know you was based like that. Oh, thank you. I was a little, I don't know. had to go watch it again because when you get it, this is okay. Let me explain this. Let me actually explain this one. I don't like to put my political opinions out there. Why? Because I believe that they should be reserved for me and my family. If I want to talk politics and I want pushback, I'll call my dad and I'll call my brothers. All right. That's who I will have actual discourse when I really want to say, do I want to change your mind or do I need you to change mine or am I asking for mine to be changed or whatever. But I don't feel the need to go on somebody's show and say, yes, I'm defending this position. Come at me, bro. Right? That is not like, I don't care because I don't care about anybody's opinions. I'm not going to persuade you and I don't care to persuade you. You're not going to persuade me. You have, in my mind, you have no credibility. I don't know who you are. I don't like everything you say means nothing to me. Right. And I don't care to share mine. I'm not going to convince you of anything because I don't care. Right. And I felt like I explained this to Shapiro. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. But I said, like, I don't talk politics, like, because I don't care. Not that I don't care about politics, but I don't care to share my opinion with you or you or you or you or you or you or you because I don't know you, right? Why would I give any credibility to somebody on the internet just because why? Because they talk on the internet? That's not credible to me. I don't know you. Now, my dad, I'll call my dad. I trust my dad. That's why I follow my dad. He's a great guy. I trust what he says. And we've had some discourse. We've had some little, not disagreements, but we've worked around like the idea of, well, why would we do this? Or why let's talk about the different variations. We talk religion too. You know what? I love talking religion with my dad. You know, my favorite thing is when my kids actually come to me and say, like, they'll have a question about God or something, right? And they'll say, well, why did God XYZ? Or why did Noah blah, blah, blah? Or why did this and this and this? And I say, you know who can really answer that question? There's a great person who can absolutely tell you everything you need to know. And it's very well educated. I trust the source, right? Is Pop. And Pop is incredibly good at answering those questions for my babies. And I trust him, right? I know he's going to lead them the same way that he led me. So again, talking politics online, I don't care. I just don't care. Yeah, okay, I voted one way. That doesn't mean I'm going to come out and defend everything of who I voted for. I'm not. Because I don't care to defend it to random people on the internet. What am I defending? Are you going to hurt me if I don't answer you? Are you going to, I don't know, kick me if I can't defend my position or I have the wrong answer? I don't know. Like, what are you going to do? You know? So it's just not my thing. I love hosting debates. There's a stark difference between hosting a debate and pushing my opinions out there, right? My political opinions or with the intent to persuade. I will give you guys all the room. And this is why I am perfect for my position as a moderator, because I'm not going to try to persuade you. I don't care to persuade you. It's not my role, right? And that's why I love where I stand. Right? Yeah. Like I knew it was, and that's something I told Brian, like politics are a joke. Like if you actually believe that one vote made a difference, you're a buffoon. Like politics are just all showmanship. It's just one big, like pull back the curtains and watch, and you'll see how much your vote and everyone arguing online, it's just that's all it is. Spin the narrative, make the claim, push it out, right? Exposure. That's why social media is so strong for politics. And that's why when somebody covers something, it's so strong for the politics. It doesn't matter whether it's going to work or not. It's just how the narrative is spun. You all know this. If you've watched YouTube enough, and I'm sitting here saying all this, and I've got, congressional candidate coming up. I'm so sorry in advance, but these are just my feelings, right? But if you like look at YouTube and how exposure is key to going viral or being gaining popularity or being somebody that everybody wants to talk to or whatever, it's all the same exact thing. It's no different. It's no different, guys. So that's why when he's like, defend this, and I'm like, I'm not defending. Trump's not my daddy. Trump's not my husband. He's not my grandpa. Like, he's nobody to me. He's just some dude that supposedly runs the country. Like, I wasn't there when he made these decisions. I wasn't there when he said these things. I'm not defending anything. I refuse to defend anything another person has done unless, are you my father? Are you my brother? Are you my children? Are you within my circle? Then I'll defend it to the death. I don't care if you're wrong or not because you're my family, right? But some dude who I've never met before, absolutely not. I'm not defending if he called people one thing or if they laughed because Joe Rogan said, and I don't know, whatever. Joe Rogan laughed at some UFC fighter calling Michelle Obama a man. Oh my, why are we upset about this? This is high school. It's just high school with suits on. That's all it is. That's all it is. Oh my God, they called Michelle Obama a man. Show me on the doll where you got hurt, my friend. To get to the other side. Yes, I have a tomato circle. And it's very small. I keep it very small. Okay. I wish you had been my first grade teacher. What? Yes. No, this does not reflect Andy at all. My opinions are my own. I'm very excited that he's here. And I think that's what makes me a unique person to interview because I'm not going to try to persuade him or push him. I'm going to ask questions, maybe give a little pushback just to cue up some direction. But like, hey, if he wants to go out there and stand on that soapbox and be the face of these policies and the issues and so on and so forth, more power to. I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing. If you have the strength to do that and you want to do that, and you want to get people locked in on your views, I just don't believe that the views or politics more so, I don't think they're that vital. I think it's one big circle jerk of high schoolers wearing suits. That's my stance. So yeah, going on Brian Shapiro, sorry, that was really long-winded, but going on Brian Shapiro, right? He knew I was going to Vegas. He found out I was going to Vegas to do the recording to moderate the debate with Digital Social Hour. He found out I was going to be out there. Oh, are we up? Oh, yay! 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 All
Sorry
right.
about that. Wow.
That is okay. Listen, they hate it when I sit there and woman prattle. So for me to be able to torture them for the last 20 minutes is fun to me.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fun.
I apologize, but we're back. So
we are back. Okay. I think if I remember, we left off on, I think I was on data centers, right? I think we were moving in that direction. And you were talking about Florida. Florida's not very pro data center. You've kind of pushed that away. And I think we were talking about AI. And I think that's where I left off. I said AI makes people really, really dumb, or it does really, really amazing things.
That is where we left off. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
so where do you stand on AI and is it worth it? Is it worth putting the data centers anywhere at all?
Look, I think AI is making us all superhumans right now. I mean, we have more information ready at our pockets than, the president did just probably a decade ago. Like it's, we're, so no, I think if anything, AI is leveling the playing field for people, right? I mean, you don't have to have the resources or knowledge to have, the best means to for solutions now. I think so no, I think AI I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for it. But I mean, there's no stopping it now. But I don't think it's the end of humanity. I think it can improve it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a helpful tool, right? Not all tools, when used properly, a tool is great, right? So, for instance, I can utilize a knife in a good way, and it cuts things. It's resourceful. I can hunt with it. I could do this with it. I could to cut paper, for Pete's sake, right? But I could also harm somebody too. So all tools have that pro and con variation based on the user and how they use it. So I think we got to kick it back to the American people, and also the the companies that are utilizing AI and pushing it outward, or utilizing it for applications, or doctors using it for things, so on and so forth. I think they have that duty of care to ensure they're using it properly and not, harming people per se.
I hope my doctor's not on surgery and AI
is in the middle of grok. Hold on, let's grok. What do I do next? Hold on, bring the instructions back up again. Okay, so that kind of covers your first issue, foreign influence and how it's being brought in, so on and so forth. What was your second act that you had going on? Let's go ahead and maneuver over.
The second act is the Public Trust Act. This is going to be trust through transparency. It's going to be about public office and public accountability. No more backroom deals. And what we also want to see here is the end of congressional term limits. So, I'm running for a seat of a power that I want to limit. And I think a lot of people would like to see that done as well. I think Washington has become somewhat of a country club for politicians. We've had many people in power for 50 years, and when that happens, they're just serving the interests that keep them in power and not the people. So, we need new leaders. We need new ideas. People need to serve and then go back, to their lives. I don't think politics is meant to be a career. It's supposed to be a public service. So, we need new people. We need new people in. We need to cycle it. And, I think that's, I think this is one way that we're gonna help save America. This is.
How do you get the people who benefit from not having term limits to agree to having term limits?
Well, again, we're going to do through transparency. So, if elected to office on day one, this is our bill. We're going to look to pass it. And if it doesn't pass, hey, these are your Congress, this is why it's not happening. So, we're going to, you'd be able to call out and point to exactly why this isn't happening. And hopefully, the American people speak loud enough there if this is important, as I think it is. So that's how we're going to bring transparency. The people have the right to know. Another thing with the Public Trust Act, is that, we want to open up to starting with our district. When we have bills in our district, we want to incorporate a blockchain technology that actually lets voters, it would let voters, take action. And, as an elected official for my district, on being nothing more than a pass-through entity for my district, to see what they want happen here. I think this would be, there's nothing like this. The technology, it does exist to incorporate this, and really, listening to your district, giving your district a voice to speak. I think that's why we're putting people in, in these positions to represent the people. So I can't think of, any better way to do it than, to implement this Public Trust Act and transparency. And these are some of the ideas that I would love to put into America. This is the second principle of our campaign.
How would a blockchain work in that aspect? Like I'm trying to envision how that would work.
Well, bills are uploaded, to the website, to our website, to my personal website, and every single voter, would have would have a specific voter ID. We'd have access to the voters of the district, that are registered, where you vote. I mean, you using your ID, you use your blockchain technology, it's an evolution of voter, of voter registration and technology of what we have. Everybody is registered as one voter, gets one vote. It's easily transparent to see who makes the votes, and record and represent your district this way. So this is we'll be putting out, I'm speaking to some people in the industry, seeing what we can do with this code and technology, and we're gonna, this is one thing that we're gonna try to develop as the campaign proceeds.
How would you get back to the people's voices outside of voting per issue? But is there a way where you have a more open door policy, I guess, per se, to see what your people want? Is that a thing?
Well, there would be no, this would be the way to give the people the voice, right? To take every bill that is into, that is getting passed into Congress, and to really having, to have voters have a right to share their opinions more than once every 2 years when we have our midterm elections.
Right.
So, you put someone into power, right? And if they're not, at least, this is a way to stay accountable to the people that put you into office, and really giving American people the voice, and that's how else could you help America than really implementing something like this?
Mm-hmm. So with hold on, I just had a thought and now it went away. Actually, yeah, there it is. For your bills that you want to put forward and things that you want to see happen, what are your thoughts on more basic writing? We've seen stuff come through where it's thousands and thousands of pages, and it's like, how is anybody going to possibly actually read this, right? Is there a sense of maybe limiting it to basic understanding, basic transparency in that aspect, but even to where you could read it all in one day?
And that's a great idea. You're seeing many of these bills are 100 pages. Everybody says not all the congressmen aren't reading all this. This is where they pass all the fat in these bills, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. I would love why can't we have shortened bills to a limited amount of pages that our congressmen are actually reading? Great idea.
Is that something you stand on already, or is that something that you've heard before and just let's do it? Or
I've heard before that, I've heard people complain that these bills are excessive. They're 100 pages. Who's able to, this is how they're sliding things into these bills to get passed, and that they're hidden. Sure. So I've heard that being a problem before. I haven't, heard of any, limiting the length of a bill. But certainly an innovative idea, and there might be something to it. Shorten the bills. Yeah. It's if it needs more length, well, then you're going to need to pass more bills, right? But each one of these things that goes through, if it was a limited amount of pages that everybody who's passing it fully can digest and understand everything that they're passing, I think that's a great idea.
I think a reason why the average American does not want to sit and read what is proposed in politics and so on and so forth is because of stupid reasons like that. It's meant to be overwhelming, right? It's meant to steer you away. No, you don't have to read all this. We got it. Just let your leaders do their job, right? And I think there would be a lot of more people wanting to participate, wanting to read, wanting to digest it and understand what is my congressman passing, what is my representative passing, what is my senator passing, what is my president okay with. I want to be able to get a hard copy or a digital copy of some sort and be able to sit and read it in one setting, like you would the Sunday newspaper.
Yeah, that's great. Now we're using also, we were speaking AI. AI does have the ability to summarize a lot of these bills for people too, right? So, back to the idea of our Public Trust Act, voters, where they're getting the the summarized version of the bill, the importance of the bill. Voters vote through the blockchain, and I vote according to the voters. That's the point of the act.
I would absolutely, positively never want to use AI to summarize a bill. I would want to hardcore read it myself. I would want it to be as plain and simple what is the average reading level is what, second grade, I think? Or is it fifth grade? It's either second or fifth grade. Either way, if the average person can't understand what is in here, that to me is a problem, because we are the American people. Like, this is our country. And if we can't sit down and say, oh, this is what's going on by reading one thing, then I think that's a problem. And I think we should cater to the average reading level, right? If we want to keep our all of Americans informed and educated and involved in politics, aside from just what the news headlines put out there, aside from what I don't know, some YouTuber said and what their title of their video was, and some crazy thumbnail saying like Andy did this, right? I would want them to actually, and this is why they cater to the drama, or some UFC fighter said this about someone, right? Because they're banking on the idea that the Americans cannot read all of these bills, will not read all of these bills, and don't have the education level to understand them. So what if we simplified it to where the average American would be okay with sitting down, reading it, and it's digestible and able to understand?
Yeah.
Without AI summarizing it for you, because now we're just doing what I said earlier. We're dumbing it down.
I think you're right. I think they put this many bills. There's this many pages to the bills on purpose. They put the lot. This is how they get in what the lobbyists want. Shorten the bills, right? It's a great idea, Sarah. Maybe we'll make this part.
It's the only kind I have.
We'll make this part. We'll make this part of the Public Trust Act.
Compliments of the tomato. We'll call it the Tomato Act.
I will certainly reference you.
That'd be awesome. All right. That covers public transparency. I think that's a really strong, especially with the way we see politics running nowadays. Like, there is no absolute trust, right? We see the exposure, the news media, this, that, another. I feel like every year the trust just goes down and down and down and down, right? And then when somebody runs for a campaign, whether it's presidency or other stuff, we build up that trust, like, yes, you support me, stay strong, yada, yada, yada. And people come in very strong armed on it. But then as soon as they start to make moves or fail to make moves, the public trust level just sinks. And then we're right back to the bottom again. So yeah, I think that's a great thing to run on.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll share that the third is the Restore America Act, which is the American dream rebuilt. I mean, it's when people are talking about affordability being a crisis, but everybody talks about affordability. I think you hear all the Congress, everybody complains about affordability, but really very few people put forth ideas of how to improve affordability. And I have ideas that are going to help, in where people need it most. In my district specifically, I hear over and over again, housing. We're going to make this dream of home ownership affordable again. I had a plan, which I had shared the beginnings of it recently on some social media, but that really, to incentivizing our private sector and our developers to build affordable housing. Right now, we're not doing so because, it's not profitable necessarily for them to do so. So if the federal government had low interest loans to developers for qualified projects, if we had a matching fee, for local municipalities, for impact fees of local municipalities to build these projects, it would encourage more of the private sector to build these houses and to make more affordable homes, which is what I'm keep hearing over and over again in my district is so desperately needed. Another thing here in South Florida, which is literally a crisis, is property insurance. Right now, it's, year after year, premiums have skyrocketed here in South Florida. So that, it actually, you own a home, it's hard to stay in a home. So I had, an idea to help out the property insurance is to do something if you're familiar with like what the federal government has done with the mortgage industry, right? So we have conventional loans that are federally backed, if they meet conventional standards. And by conventional standards for mortgages, typically people have good credit, et cetera. If it meets certain standards, we can do the same thing in property insurance. If homes have certain standards, whether new roof, impact windows, you're qualifying now for a, conventional insurance in property, and have this insurance federally backed, this conventional federally backed, and that, still, private sector will still write the insurance policies, but now that they're federal backed, it's going to lower rates, and that's going to put thousands of dollars back into our homeowners' pockets. So these are two of the ideas that I had to make a real dent in affordability here, specifically in the housing industry in South Florida, and and on a national level too.
Yeah, what do you think kind of kicked off that whole range of the housing market? What would you, if you could point a finger and say this is why? What would you say?
This is why it's become so expensive. Is that the question? Why it's
this is why the housing market has just gone to a point of unaffordable unless you are in a certain financial position, like top percent.
Supply, it's a lack of supply of quality, affordable housing now. We're not building new. Everything that is new generally in this district, is generated to the luxury sector. So we're building a lot of waterfront towers, but that's because that's where the developers are incentivized, and that's where they're seeing the return. So we need to make it more attractive for our private sector and our developers to build this affordable housing that our district needs.
Okay, so then, I mean, because we sit in inflation, right? We sit with we have job security issues, a lot of unemployment, so on and so forth going on. I mean, at some point, these are all coming into alignment, right? To where on a national scale, right? I know you're looking more at locally in Florida and what's going on there, but even on a national scale, we see this. I mean, it's nationwide. It's an issue. So, I mean, and it's supply, because I thought we had a big housing boom where houses were just, I don't know about you, but I see developers all over the place.
No, I think if there was adequate supply, it would keep prices level. Obviously there's not enough supply, that supply and demand, basic economics. If, demand can't, if there's enough supply, it's going to keep the pricing down. But right now our demand for housing exceeds the supply of it. So that's in a bubble why we're seeing, in a nutshell, why we're seeing prices continue to soar and become, unaffordable, for many Americans to achieve the quote unquote American dream and home ownership. We're going to build it, and this is going to create jobs too, especially now. One of the real risk, of course, AI is, it is a risk to job security, as you mentioned. That is the other edge of AI. But these jobs, these construction jobs, I mean, we're going to build it. I mean, it's one thing that, I really encourage development here in North Bay Village, and, we've brought in developer, and we're building, and we're creating jobs. We're building houses, and it's really kind of, it's also, at the same time, it's creating tax dollars for the government. So I mean, it's the system's working here in North Bay Village, and we want to, it's centered around a housing growth, and it's centered around our, the development, and we want to take that on a, on a larger level, and we're trying to replicate it into our district.
What would if you could just point and whoosh with a wand, fix one major thing, and it just magically happens, nationwide, local, whatever it may be, what would it be?
I mean, let's keep tax dollars here in America. Let's invest in America. Let's elect independent voices. I think, again, I think the two-party system, let's end congressional term limits. Let's create congressional term limits. I think these people that are keeping the parties in power, this is corrupt. It's not representing the people. So I think I named. I guess that's a run on for 3 ideas.
I said, what's one, the most important? Which one of those would you say, like, if I only had one thing I could fix right now, and that's my only option, what would it be?
One thing is, then we'll lean on the Public Trust Act and giving the voice back to the people, right? So every issue, a summer AI upload bills to the website, blockchain technology, the district is voting each bill by bill, and the people's will always be done, and have, our elected officials be nothing more than a pass-through entity of the people that they represent.
Okay. If you are watching, I have dropped the open panel link into the live chat. You are free and welcome to start heading backstage while I finish up my questions with Andy. How does your personal level, right? I want to kind of, not in a bad way, but how is your family, friends, your local support with you taking this big leap up the line?
It's been great, and I can only do it with their support, so I'm so thankful for the people in my circle who have encouraged me as I came out here. And without them, I wouldn't have the motivation or to keep going and to keep pushing. So my inner circle, my family is everything, friends and family, and to continue to have the support of the peers and the people around me is what, will keep pushing me harder, as we go into November. And I said that, I kind of told people around me from the beginning. I said, look, I'm going to listen, I'm going to listen to what my people say. And if the people around me are encouraging and, and they're resonating with our message and what we're putting out, then I'll run as hard and take this as far, take this campaign as far as it can go.
Mm-hmm. What was the moment you decided, what was the thing that just happened and you said, yes, I'm absolutely going to do this. I have to now.
For me, running as an independent, it's really just, it's been building up over the last 2-4 years, as I've just seen a constant divide in America. I think we have citizens that are viewing each other as enemies and not as fellow Americans, and I just, and I want to help bring, I want to help bring people together. I want to, with a positive, with unity, with love, and that's been my motivating force and my calling. That said, I want to give this a go, and I want that to be my message.
Where do you see yourself in the future? I mean, are you going to keep going further up the line? Are we going to presidential candidate Andy? Is that in the near future, or are you not that ambitious? But we're going to get where we can.
Yeah, I mean, that's sincerely not on, that's not on my radar or my ambition. I've said I'm not a career politician. I mean, I'm not looking to be a politician. I mean, I'm a husband, I'm a family man, I'm a small business owner. And I'm just, I love America. I want to help. I see this as my way to give back to America if I get the opportunity to. So that's as far as I see it. I would like, when we talk about maxing term limits, I think maximum Congress should be 8 years maximum, that anybody should be able to serve, similar to, what we see in the presidential seat. But, after that, I want to return. I have my family. I have my business here in Miami, and that's where I see myself, in the future.
That's fair. I like it. You're not trying to go and jump into politics and stay there forever. You just want to go do your job and set the pace, and then let others come in. Come in and continue that success.
Absolutely, I think, and that's what I think. I think that's That's what the system wants to see. I mean, that's what the American people want to see. That's not what the system has become. The system has become the opposite. These people are elected into power. It's hard to get incumbents out of power, and they're going to continue to serve the interest and the money that keeps them in power. And that's how that's how the corrupt will is done. That's how it is achieved. But having new people in there that are going to be recycled with new congressmen in a couple years, they're not going to serve those interests. And I think we'll have more people doing what they feel is right. And that's how we save America, Sarah. That's how we're.
Fair enough. That's fair.
Yeah.
James asks a question. He says, curious how you were able to get on the ballot as an independent. I know ballot access laws generally favor the two major parties and keeps third-party candidates off the ballot. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, to get on the ballot as an independent, there's candidacy forms that you have to oath of office form, candidacy forms that you fill out. It's 2,000 petitions, and there's a qualifying fee. One thing that is actually favorable to independents is that once you do those things that I mentioned and you are on the ballot, there's a primary election at the moment. We don't know who we're running against. I'm running in a seat that is it's one of the strongest Democratic strongholds in the South Florida area. There's about 8 Democrats, I believe, that are running for the primary. That's August 18th. So they have to run a primary. We will be on the ballot come November. So that's actually one of the, that's a strength of being independent. And how you qualified for the ballot. So I would love to see more independents get on the ballot. James, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in doing something too in your district too as an independent, I mean, use AI to coach you. I mean, there's the forms you'll see, there's the guidance, that's what we were talking about before. You have to get some petitions, and there's a qualifying fee.
Wow. Interesting. You could run a whole life just based off of AI. James also asks, why did you choose to run for U.S. Congress versus a member of the Florida legislature?
Good question. Right now, like I mentioned before, I'm American. I'm a patriot. I want to serve my country. I think Florida is one of the states that is going in the right direction. So I think politics in Florida have been pretty strong, in my opinion. I think over the past 4 years, Florida's seen tremendous growth, tremendous freedoms. So I think the governor DeSantis, I think his 8 years were excellent. I think he did a great job for Florida. I think Florida's in less need of help right now than the United States. I think so. I think where my calling and my interest to try to serve was for America.
Interesting. All right. Tom Carpenter makes the claim that power, control, and retention through Edward Bernays style propaganda is the program of the dual party. So basically, marketing is why we're in. This was kind of what I was saying earlier while you were having fire alarms go off. But it's all, politics is just good marketing.
Politics is marketing, and unfortunately, it's money. The candidates, I'm going up as mostly as a self-funded candidate at the moment against, very strongly funded Democratic and Republican parties. My opponents have millions of dollars behind them. They have with millions of dollars behind you, the outreach is easy. Oh my, one thing, obviously social media at least gives us all an opportunity and all a voice. But I'm like, man, if I had the backing that these parties have, you put thousands of dollars behind posts, every single thing, everything sponsored, everything, every post, every advertisement is on steroids, right? So unfortunately, the two-party systems, that's the donor pool is very strong. And that's, what makes the party strong. Unfortunately, that's a hard thing to fix. We're not going to fix that, But, one thing that at least everybody does have the opportunity now in today's age to at least have their voice, put it out there. And if it resonates enough with American people, then, there is the grassroots movement, I think, is easier to achieve now than ever before.
I think it would be easier for a YouTuber, for instance, to run a political campaign if they already have the draw,
Absolutely.
like if you already have the network and the subscribers, and you're tapped into so many different other YouTubers and other like news networks and so on and so forth. So that would be the way I would do it.
If you're an influencer, you definitely have a good shot,
right? Like you already have the built-in foundation of what politicians run on. All you have to do is make the claims and say, "This is what I want to do," and here you go. Your crowd will follow. So I expect to see politics change. I expect a big redirect where it's not people who are career politicians jumping into politics even more. I see influencers chiming in.
Popularity contest.
That's exactly what I made this claim just a few days ago, sir.
I mean, look, it's definitely advantage if you have a couple 100,000 followers on your social media accounts, no doubt about it.
No, absolutely, millions.
Yeah, I mean, you still, as long as then, I think you still need substance behind what you're putting out, and hopefully people are smart enough. But yeah, I mean, that's a clear advantage, and those people with that following would have a good shot at getting elected to office if that's something that they desire. Sure, that's incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Or even if you don't want to and you just want to do it for funsies, you really could do it. Tom Carpenter says, Andy, key question, be careful. This could change the trajectory of the campaign. Best pizza style and toppings.
Ooh, man, I'm a supreme guy. I love pizza too. So pizza is probably my favorite food. If you had to have one food, man, I love pizza. Put me in.
Who could go wrong with that?
Supreme. Meat, pepperoni, peppers, onions, good stuff.
You just want everything, huh?
Mozzarella. Yeah, well, I'm a fan of red sauce pizza. I think pizza definitely needs to have 3 ingredients. I'm not a white pizza guy. I need marinara sauce and cheese on my pizza. Yeah, but pizza.
I enjoy a good veggie style pizza. But I also enjoy pepperoni, and I also enjoy the ham, the tomatoes, the olives, like everything.
No discrimination against our pizza. Yeah, we love all people. We love all
except those Hawaiian. The pineapple.
Just not my favorite.
Pineapple weirdos. No, those are weirdos.
Oh, I might lose both, but I once in a while I can go for a Hawaiian pizza.
You're fired. Ladies and gentlemen, I am shutting this show down right now.
It's usually if I've already had pizza during the week, and this is a second pizza of the week, then Hawaiian's an option.
Kind of like more of the dessert style pizza then, huh? I'll take it.
I know, unpopular.
Fair enough. And then one more question came in. It is, would you support cameras in classrooms to hold teachers and students accountable for being properly educated?
Yeah, why not? I think cameras in classrooms. I don't see I don't see the harm in that. Sure, especially our public school systems that our tax dollars are going to. Public spaces, safe spaces. Sure, safe spaces, absolutely.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Well, I've got 4 fine friends sitting backstage. I think Omar was supposed to jump back there again, but they are going to come on and hang out with us. Let's see. Oh, and Calvin jumped back there too. All right, Ben, you got a kitty cat hanging out in front of the camera. Clay, Kraut, Ant, of course, Shaman and Calvin. Welcome, my friends. Let's go ahead And remember kindly, folks, there was a reason why I didn't play our famous Gauntlet song, because we're not going into Bloodsport mode. We're here to ask Andy questions, have a conversation, and we're keeping the Bloodsport out of it. This is like Q&A time.
I appreciate that, Sarah. But if anybody has tough questions they feel they want to ask me,
they're going to ask tough questions. Yeah. They're just not going to be buttheads about it.
I want to answer a question real quick. That's kind of off topic, but I want to make sure I'm not tripping. This is going to seem morbid, but have any of you guys seen that old movie, It, like the Stephen King movie, It? Okay,
yes.
Clay is saying yes. Clay, tell me, Andy. Now, unfortunately, the blonde kid, he unalived himself. I think like 2001, but I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure Andy is that dude. Clay, you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it. So
he played it. He also played in the Never Ending Story 2, and he played in another movie with Chuck Norris. Clay, you know who I'm talking about now, right? Tell me Andy don't look like that cat. A little bit. That's all I got for now, bro.
All right, fair enough. All right, Kraut wants to pass on his question. Clay, I know you're probably ready and locked and loaded for a question or comment to Andy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I even put on a nice shirt for this. Thank you, Andy. Yeah. Thank you, Andy, for coming up. We're really appreciative here. We haven't done anything like this. Sarah just got back from Vegas doing her debate stuff, so this is really awesome.
I didn't know that.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. But yes, we did.
So yeah, it's really great to have someone doing this on the internet. Now, I've been to a town hall before, and I was actually able to speak to my congresswoman, which was really nice. I asked her some of the tough questions, and I don't know how much time I've got, but if it starts to get heavy, maybe we can come back around to me.
Sure,
whatever, Clay. Depending on how much time you and Sarah and everybody has. I know you talked a lot about your goals, the 3 particular goals you mentioned: foreign influence, public trust, and restore America. But I'd like to get right into public trust, particularly.
I knew you were going to go for that
one. You mentioned some backroom deal type stuff. That's going on. Term limits is something you'd like to see. I'd love to see it. I know a lot of people. We've had this conversation. Me and Ben on his channel. Other people here on the Tomato Show have had this conversation. Service to me seems to be something that a lot of people don't understand what it is. It's service, meaning that eventually you get tired because you're serving the people. But it seems that in that particular employment, it's not really supposed to be employment. It's compensated. Mm-hmm. It's not a paycheck, right? These things come into play, and it just doesn't seem that these people serving get very tired.
No. It's a problem. It's a problem.
So I hope that you do well in your campaign. I hope that you I think an independent individual is someone who's best for any position, someone who's not going to vote party line, someone who's going to put the stop in the gaps. But I am a police accountability specialist, okay? I do government accountability. I do First Amendment activity. A lot of people recognize me as a First Amendment auditor. I'm sure you're familiar with what First Amendment auditing is. We go into the buildings. We make sure that people understand what press is. We understand what our First Amendment rights are. So first and foremost question I got to ask you, do you know the 5 elements to the First Amendment?
The 5 elements of, your First Amendment, your freedom of speech. So it's your, that is the, that's the expanded version. There's an expanded version of our freedom of freedom of speech. Giving the people the right of religion, speech, religion, speech.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one for people who don't study this stuff. It's tough because in school they're not teaching this. It's the education, right? Our education system is very poorly lacking in constitutional rights, constitutional law. And I'll go ahead and give them to you. See, I see you're struggling. That's okay. If you don't know, you don't know. That's okay. So it goes
2 out of 5, huh?
2 out of 5. Religion.
Most freedom is It's
religion, assembly, press, petition, and speech. And the easy way to remember that, you've probably heard it before, is RAPS. RAPPS. Religion, assembly,
RAPS. Okay.
Petition, press,
I love
and
you so
speech.
much, Clay.
So this is an easy way to remember it. It's actually in the right order. It's religion, speech, press, assembly, petition. Now that petition part, that is something where you actually can petition your government for redresses. That means you ask, petition, right? But usually it's on paper, so that's what the court's for. We go to our courts to make sure things are being done correctly. I want to get to the core of police accountability with you, okay?
Good.
I know that in Miami, you probably don't have quite as much out there in the ethos, in the press, about accountability, but I think that that's because in Florida, they have actually banned police oversight.
Okay. Well, police accountability is important. One thing that our police department, again, I'm a local councilman here in North Bay Village. One thing that they were really pressing that our police chief has done is this a police accreditation program? Are you familiar with police accreditation program? So it's basically an education system that all the officers, need to have that basically just enforces that, they know the law and that they're enforcing it correctly. Right. And to my, when I asked them, I wasn't sure why they were making such a big deal about it. Something like not less than 10% of the police departments actually have this accreditation program. So I asked them, do you think this is something that we could bring on a federal level and he said, absolutely, and it's basically, it's one way that I think that we can have to improve public safety and proper police enforcement, because, it is important. But yeah, to have proper police enforcement. And I think one thing that we can look into is this police accreditation program and making this not because it's completely optional that our police department has to go through this accreditation program. But that if it became a mandatory thing for governments to have, I think it would help this.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I like anything that we can produce as a department regulation, regulating the government, right? So we have kind of like regulations on the people. That's the criminal code and the civil code. But then we also have the regulatory problems that we have with the agencies, and we want to regulate our government. So that's great. That's perfect. That's wonderful. But going with the police oversight right now, the only oversight that's allowed in the departments is IA. So internal investigations, right? Or IA.
Internal affairs.
Internal affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I lost it too. Like I went confused.
So with that, do you think that it would be possible to get something on the ballot for, and what I mean by ballot, I mean the congressional ballot for ensuring that states like Florida can't ban oversight? I'll give you the reason why. So right now, Florida is one of the hardest states to get records from. The reason for that, obviously you have, privacy redactions and all that. That's not a problem for me. I love privacy redactions. That's very important. But if something's currently under investigation, the department at will can refuse to give out that record. I think that creates more of a non-transparent attitude within the government. Now, I know that this seems to be, it sounds like it's coming from a lefty standpoint, but it's not. It's a very centered standpoint. Where I'm at, I actually sit center right. I am for rule of law. I love our Constitution. I love that we have rule of law in this country. And I think that not only the people should follow it, but also those in governmental power should follow it. So when I hear that a state, And I'm from Florida. I'm actually from Florida. I'm in New Mexico now.
Awesome.
I've been through 26 states. I've been through every eastern state except for Kentucky. I've seen, what happens with the police if they're allowed to go unchecked. So because of that, I sit center right because I want rule of law. I want the Constitution. So that right is like, okay, obviously I need to sit on the side of the law. So I'm not for defunding the police. I don't want to see that, but I do want to see accountability. I want to see records. I'm for body cam. I love body cam. And when you have departments ruling IA doesn't have to release this stuff, it just doesn't sit well with the people. How do you feel about getting that on the ballot?
I agree, but I think Congress can only take a look at federal law enforcement, right? So most of our local municipalities that is governed by the state of Florida, and that states control their law enforcement. So it might be more of a state issue when we're looking at the accountability of our local police departments, but that absolutely for any type of a federal officer to have some type of accountability to their is absolutely something that I would support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. And just to kind of, because I want to give other people time, and maybe we can go back to some of these other things. I really want to make sure that it's understood why I think it's definitely possible. You could still come up with a bill. AI. I love AI. I love that you brought up AI. You could, track through AI the ways that this intricacy could actually be implicated, or whatever the word is here. But ultimately, the idea here is that
implement
it. There it is. Joe, you're good, bro. When it comes to the actual bill itself, the idea here is that the states cannot do any. It's the 10th Amendment. It's the separation of powers clauses, right? So the federal is over the state. With the state, if the state is unwilling to give the people their rights, right, then the federal government actually does have to step in, right? This is why we saw the 60s and 70s era come around, where people of color were absolutely, their homes were being destroyed, all that stuff. The federal government stepped in and said, nope, you got to do certain things. Civil rights is an issue here.
Right.
I don't see the releasing of information as a civil rights issue, except that it is, to me, a little bit discriminatory when you say, well, we're going to release this particular body cam because we don't feel that it's a big deal, but then over here on this one, we're going to withhold this, right? So it seems like there's a uneven matching here with certain stories that we hear about versus others. Well, and if all records are made available, then there's transparency everywhere. We don't have to worry about whether, and then you actually, what you do by doing that, by the way, is you actually free up the courts.
Yeah. No, I think body cams on officers is something we have here now locally in our municipality, and I think it adds more safety to the officer and to the citizens, and it brings the accountability that you're looking for. And I think we're seeing more of this with the technology that we have now, and the funding for it and the support for it is something that could bring more accountability to law enforcement, and it just it's going to increase public safety and transparency, and I think that's something we all want to see. But again, I think there is some dangers with the federal government overseeing local municipalities and that needs to be. I mean, we've seen some examples of this, I think that have been very questionable with the National Guard lately, and some questions of federal powers potentially abusing its power over local enforcement. So something to be mindful there, that, sometimes there maybe is some limits to the federal power when it comes to local police. But the accountability and the oversight with body cams is something that I see no downside to, and I think it provides gain more safety to the citizens and to officers.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm actually in Albuquerque, so yeah,
Okay.
the whole what is it? Federal oversight thing happened here not too long ago. They've had national troops on the ground for quite a while. The Medina, the chief here, just retired. I don't know why, but maybe it's got something to do with me asking about his oath of office not being signed, which I think is a problem. But regardless of that, I'm going to hand it over. Before I do, like I said, I appreciate you being up here, and I really appreciated your stance on war. Your stance on war is probably very much aligned with mine. I really don't need to ask too many questions about that one. I think diplomacy is the best way.
Thanks, Clay, and great shirt.
Thank you.
It is a nice shirt. You look very nice, Clay. Thank you. And let's go ahead and move on to you, my friend. Question, comment for Andy?
Thank you, Sarah. I heard earlier something that you were wanting to push for using LLM summaries for bills. Did I hear that correctly?
Well, this was a brief discussion point when we're talking about how lengthy some of these bills have become, and how that it's hard to digest, and that most of our people voting yes or no on these bills probably don't understand the full weight of what they're passing. So it was just a talk point and something that came to mind. I don't know if that's the best way. I don't think it's, obviously if you're summarizing something, you could be leaving out something very important. So it's open to AI's interpretation there of what's the key factor. So it just a talking point, the problem that I think we're having with a lot of these bills is the length of them, and how lobbyists are able to get their interest passed into things that are hidden in the page 900 of these bills. So.
Yeah, I'd agree. The core problem is the length of the bills, trying to push all these big omnibus bills through, and they've become so massive that it's just not possible to expect anybody to read through it. I hope if you do get there and you are able to stay in office long enough that you can work towards perhaps pushing to limit that type of legislation, so that we're pushing for like single issues with bills instead of these omnibus packages. My concern with the LMs, though, was if you were relying on them, you've got to be very careful with their hallucinations, especially if it's on topics you're not perhaps as familiar with as whatever you went to school for. I don't know how much you use them currently, but I use them a lot, and I've often had to do double takes on them because it'll give me summaries. I'm like, no, that's not how that works, because it'll be on a subject I'm familiar with. I'm very afraid of people making legislative decisions based off these things and not even being aware that these things can happen and they may be at risk.
Good point. Yeah, and it is. I mean, nobody is an expert on every topic, right? So I mean, it's important to have a good if put into office, it's important to have a good team around you. When we even on our local level, every time we have a commission meeting, where we have the things that come before us, we have a briefing where we have our village manager, our village attorneys are on call, and we can ask questions and reference to other people, and I think this needs to be the same thing whenever you're voting on any bill, to have a good understanding of it, and not that anybody's going to know anything, but to be around, to have a good team around you is essential as well.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, with, one thing that, AI, an AI search can do, like what we had mentioned before, is, if there is something specific that you're interested in a bill, perhaps it could be highlighted, with what you're looking for.
It is good for searching through documents, but you just need to be specific about what you want. But a summary is a little different, because a summary, you're asking it to digest whatever you're feeding it, process it, and then return a result summarizing the contents of whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that's where you can run into problems. If you're just looking for something inside of something, it works very well. If you're asking for full summaries, especially of, lack of a better term, esoteric, like if the more obscure something is, the more likely it is to cause hallucinations. It's why ALMs hallucinate a lot when it comes to things related to law and certain types of research, because the amount of available information is very sparse or low confidence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with the public trust Slack, every bill will be uploaded to the website. You know, voters get to read, they research in real time. They use the AI to search for the words that are important to them. You know, and they can vote with their unique ID through the blockchain. In voting with full transparency of the people. You know, the result is that, you know, the American people who voted, you know, will have their will done. And in turn, you know, it's a more transparency to the people that you're serving, you know, and this is one of the key components of our campaign that we'd like to see, you know, introduced to America.
You want to do voting through blockchain?
We want to open it up so that we're giving the word, you know, that it allows the public of our district to participate in decisions that are being made. You know, as we mentioned, you know, we elect.
Is this with a? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is that like with a public ledger though? Because that would expose people's voting, like who they're voting for. We try to protect that.
Yeah, I mean the blockchain technology. I guess you don't know. You wouldn't know necessarily. You know, everybody would get one. You wouldn't know who is who, right? So I mean, there is maybe some way that we can keep privacy on who's voting, but you could see the results of what the district wanted without necessarily seeing, you know, who specifically wanted that.
Well, I mean, Florida's already got a really good system for counting votes. Like they're always beating the pants off every other state when it comes to counting votes for presidential elections.
Yeah,
I guess they learned their lesson after the Bush Gore incident.
There's been some recounts in Florida, but this has been a while.
But my point is they're fast. I mean, I don't think speed's been the issue in Florida.
Yeah,
maybe in the more municipal elections. I'm just talking about like in the federal elections. I don't know about like local elections that much. Anyways, I think you've answered my questions, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you, Ant. Shaman, I know you're up here. Did you want to say anything, or do you want to hold?
How's it going?
What?
Yeah, I would just. Yeah, I think everyone's getting a little confused. The blockchain concept is not about Andy trying to put AI into Congress, right? The point of it is that the voters are going to have a unique ID, and they vote for or against the bill based off of their ability to read the bill, right? So we have access to the bills in real time. They can use AI to search through the bill however they decide to, then they make a vote. Andy, through the website, will be able to see the tally of those votes for or against, and in Congress, he votes. So the concept is that this type of transparency should go viral, so to speak, and everyone should demand this of their congressman and senator. It's about transforming America and putting it forth by one person leading by example, right? So it takes a unique person to want to run on a federal level to implement the solution to keep it transparent and then simultaneously put term limits, right? It takes a unique type of person. Get it? It's pretty, because I think people thought we were talking about let's put AI in Congress. I think that's the answer.
Yeah, no, I understand the blockchain concept. All right. Did you want to add anything else in there, Shaman, or do you?
No, I think this is going to be great. I'm curious more to hear what everyone else says, you know.
All right, perfect. All right, I'll pass it on. Calvin, so happy to see you up here, my friend, because you do stand, I think, more in the Democratic position based on things I've heard you say. And I think some shots were fired at the Democrats backstage when the fire drill was going. So I'm wondering if we'll find some disagreement here. Calvin, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Andy. Thanks for
Hello.
the opportunity to speak to a candidate. This is special. As far as me, yeah, I'm glad you brought that. That was actually my first questions. First of all, my questions are going to be kind of softball questions. I consider myself an independent, but I lean a lot with the Democrats or whatever. And I was curious. I was actually finding it intriguing that you consider yourself independent. I choose to be one because I find myself, I have a lot of Republican values as well as I have some Democratic values. So kind of leaves me in the middle, and I don't like defending politicians' bad behavior. So I'm curious as to why you are independent.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible for any person to have all stances in line with one party, right?
Mhm.
And the parties have, but unfortunately, that's where the power stands, and that those,
Mhm.
they've and it's become more and more far right and more far left. It seems like that is in control. Um, so just being able to work with all people to get on both sides, and there are many Republican stances that I'd support, and there are also many Democratic stances that I support. So I've always been an independent. I've never switched. I've always had it's always been confusing to me why you had to be just one or the other. Why it's black and white. One thing cool about our local government that I'm elected is it's a nonpartisan government, and because of that, I think in the last 4 years we've been able to get so much done. It doesn't matter if it's environmental with our, where stormwater, our seawalls, or if it comes to our development policies and economic growth. We're able to work together because I think we're looking out for the best interest of our city and not worrying about the best interest of our party or political posturing. We're just looking for results, and I think, putting independents in office, they would be more focused on results.
Yeah, to me, I think independent candidates are stronger than say your
So
Republicans or Democrats. To follow that up, are you like consider yourself like more so it's like in the middle, or do you kind of find yourself identifying more so with one party or not?
um I think economically conservative, socially liberal is a common
Mhm.
phrase I've heard before. I can relate with.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I think it's again, I think this narrative is finally changing. That um, I think many people have always said, "Oh, you're voting for an independent is a waste of a vote." It's not, but independent voices need to stand up and to stop making it seem like they're the minority in the election. When I think something like 20 or
Yeah.
30% of people now are actually registered as independent,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it, it is a third party that isn't
Yeah.
considered a party.
Exactly.
Right. So I think we're headed in that direction, and that's I've always just felt if I can, my role is to be a part of this movement. We still don't have a lot of most districts don't have an independent running for them.
Mhm.
And I don't know what state you are, but if you looked up to see if you even have an independent running. So there still is a lack of good independent candidates. I think you're going behind the parties, and that's there's a lot of money behind the parties, which is why the candidates are being drawn into there. But just to as more people stand up and have the voice of saying, I'm not working for any party, I'm just working for America, and this is what I stand for. That's eventually what we all want to see. And I think we're headed in the right direction. Not left, not right. We're going forward. So that's the stance.
Okay. And I got just one last this quick question that had to do with the term limit. And I wrote
Mhm.
this down so I wouldn't fumble it. So in the private sector, we value tenure employees because losing experience, talent hurts the organization. if we implement strict term limits, we risk losing highly capable leaders and politicians just as they master their complexity of their jobs. Is there a middle ground that allows us to keep top political talent in place while building stronger guardrails to prevent the corruption that oftentimes comes with long-term power?
Good point, Calvin. I mean, yeah, look, experience is important. I think 8 years when you're running a 2-year term and being elected 4 times is the ability to stay in power for a long enough time to be effective and to pass good policies and to achieve results. Any longer than that, I think is when you risk that that these that people are working for the system that keeps them in power, not for the American people. So I do think that ultimately congressional limits does more good than harm. Of course, there might be some few examples where, yes, you are removing good people from power if you add term limits, but I think that's what we need. Then we need to put other good people in their place. New ideas, and there's America has a lot of great candidates that can step up, and we need more people to continually fill shoes and seats that become vacant.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Calvin. All great questions. Mr. Joe Cool, I love you so much. What do you got for us, sir?
Wow. First of all, what you got from me, this was great. I'm benefiting. And going after Calvin, I was fucking like, I feel like, I don't know, like God was in the room. Calvin took it so serious. He was even like nervous and shit. I'm thinking he wants to be a politician. It tells me so much about his character. He wants to make a difference and all of that shit. That little shit, I learned more about him in them 2 seconds. And Calvin got dude to open up like he was guarded with brick now. Fucking when he said that shit about that term limits, he swallowed it down, like, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. I thought it was great. I'm so glad that I went after those two. All right. And I don't even know your name, guy. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm the guy who, you don't want to bring company home because Joe might be there drinking in the front room. I'm that guy. I don't drink, but I'm that guy. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Me, Andy Daro.
Andy. All right. Nice to meet you, Andy. I really like what you said, especially about that letting the people have their own say. So you ain't said, and I'm highly critical. I don't like surface conversation. You haven't said nothing that I could really jump on. So I want to ask you a couple quick questions, get to know you, man. And I really can't stand politicians, right? So it's a good thing you're independent. I'd be having many questions for you. Good thing you're independent, and it looks like you want to be your own man. So I gotta ask and see where you are. What about? Let's start with the gun rights, man. What do you think? Everybody gets a gun?
Of course, I support people's right to have a.
You back to that politician shit, pimp? Be nice. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it's a support the amendment to the right to bear arms. Of course, I think that's a choice. I'm okay. I'm okay with with some that's a founding principle in America but no, but I think some limits is okay. Like is it every American's right to have an automatic weapon, to just be able to buy that? Maybe, there's some questions that could be open to a fair debate and talking points, but the right to bear arms is, of course.
Oh God, I made you so uncomfortable. I almost regret asking that shit. The next one might not be any easier. Weed. And this is the question. Is the guy who arrested me, and I got arrested when I was a kid, but this is made up. The guy who arrested me for smoking weed, didn't he do an evil thing, and shouldn't we punish him?
No, I mean, I'm for the legalization of marijuana. I think we should. There's. I mean, the state of Colorado made something like $10 billion last year. That's another funding source that we could put to, in my opinion, into much better, needed infrastructure, whatever, support. I mean, we could put support down payment assistance for people with, $10 billion is a lot of money. So, weed to me is not a federal offense by any means. And, I would support the legalization.
Very good. My question was what? Okay, let me rephrase. Is that guy a bad guy who arrested me? Because this leads to my next question, which will be my last.
Is there a bad guy who arrested you for marijuana?
Is he a bad guy? Is my question.
I mean, if you're following, I mean, if that's what the law is, right? So, I mean, the guy who arrested
the law
you
determines what's good and bad.
It returned what I guess the law officer is supposed to do. But if you're asking me on my stance on it, and
I
where
know the
think
law
it
I
should
can
be,
read too. I'm asking you, yes, what you think. Was he a bad man? I didn't ask you for your stance. You gave me that the first time.
I mean, look, on a generalization, no, I don't think a man would be bad for arresting somebody because the law is there, but that law needs to be changed. We have too many people. I mean, weed should not be a crime.
That was my last. I'll let you off the hook. We got plenty of time later.
That's an easy one. That's an easier one for me than the gun policy. So, no problem there.
The last part that I wanted to comment on a little bit is all of this leads to why I don't like politicians, period. I think it's everybody gets in there and wants to control other people my way. Why would I like you? I got to see if you line up with me, and then you got me. I'm worse than no better than the left, right, and so and so. You got to leave people alone. That's what I am saying. So when we get in, when it opens up a bit, I'll be ready for when I get to say something, man. I want your hands off of me. I don't want someone who thinks he can be in there a leader. I don't need leaders. I need public employees, servants, followers who do what I say. That's why I like what you said about the voting thing. What we get to do it. But I don't need nobody in there talking about what type of gun I can have. You can talk that nuclear talk all you want, but that's just rhetoric. Can I get that AR-15? It says so in the Constitution. And don't dance when I ask you. Right? All right. You guys.
All right. Well, and I also on this, we should shrink the size of, government. We don't need to big government to oversee everything that we do, right? I mean, the government is supposed to be there to work and support the people. So limited size government, I think is a good thing.
All right. And Brick, you did well. You covered all the transparency shit, which I would have covered. So good job.
Cheers. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. For the win. Welcome back, my friend. Go ahead. Question or comment for Andy.
Yeah, I got a couple here, Sarah. Thank you. And Andy, thank you very much for coming up here. It's awesome to be able to have people that are running to be able to come up and just chit chat with regular people. So thank you. My first question is, I kind of did a little bit of a bio search on you, and I saw that you did play soccer and you were a former captain on your team. What position did you play?
I was midfielder.
Ah, okay. I was a centerman myself.
Nice. Watching some World Cup now?
I am, yeah. That was leading into my next question, and I'm assuming you're rooting for America, right?
Wholeheartedly, yeah. Watched
Wonderful.
the game last night. A little disappointing result, but I think it's okay. We won the group, and we're looking forward to Bosnia game next week, and where it really matters.
Yep. So, if it wasn't America, who do you like in the World Cup otherwise?
In the World Cup? Okay. I mean, my next country, I'm Italian ancestry, but that's not an option in this World Cup. Who do I like, or who do I?
Well, I'm saying, who's your favorite, to win it aside from us, of course?
I think France is the strongest. If you're looking at the strongest nation, the team in it right now, England, Germany, Spain, they all have strong teams, all a good chance. But I do, I believe that we can win. I think that the Americans have the best team they've ever had. They've been getting a lot of support. The World Cup is in America, so if there's ever been a chance, with this team, they're young, they're fast, I think they're athletic. I think we pose a good chance. So I'm July 1st. I'll be watching the game and cheering for America all the way.
Very cool. So, last question regarding sports: if you are to win your race, would we be seeing you potentially in a congressional baseball game, making any
Yeah,
fun catches?
sure. If there was a congressional baseball game that I could participate in, absolutely.
We need congressional boxing. That's what we really need.
I'll take I'll take up in that too. You know, I've always I've yeah, all athletics. I mean, it was a big part of my youth growing up, and you know, I still support, and it's still part of my lifestyle now.
Hey, Sarah, I was asking Andy. I said we need to bring back legal public duels, and he said that's too much. So you see, he's centered.
No. We totally need to bring him back.
I agree, but he doesn't. You know, he says too much.
It'll bring the real men who want to actually stand for what they believe in out into the
It'll
world.
stop that troll shit real fast.
Yeah.
Omar, I'm with you.
Yeah,
bringing duels back.
Yeah,
Look,
legal
I've been wanting
mutual
to go to
combat federally. We have federal
I've been
safe
wanting-
zones, mutual combat. No one has to pay for the funeral. Let's go.
All right, for the win, back to you, sir.
All right, so we'll get into the nitty gritty. So, I kind of looked up into the 24th congressional district that you're in there. It seems like predominantly it's been kind of Democrat ran for the majority of the time. So, as an independent, it looks like Gonzalez, she's not Trump endorsed. As an independent, would that be something that you would consider asking the president for and helping your chances?
Yeah, I think to have any shot in my district, I have to win the Republican vote and then be able to get some centrist. It is, your research is correct. It's considered a Democratic shoo-in. You know, if you read the Miami Herald or whatever they say about the district, the Republicans do not have a strong candidate running in there. You know, so I think there is opportunity to pull from the right. But I also, you have to be able to help. And I've been asked this. How do I think I can help? Well, I think my strengths and my background, in housing and what I've shared about property insurance is really what the people want. To be able to help deliver results for this district is something I think I can do. I mean, I know I'm in real estate background. I know how to get real estate done, and I know how to, deliver these results. If given a chance for my district and opportunity, I think I would deliver for the people of 24. So I hope I, get the opportunity to do so, but I won't be able to do so without at least earning some Democratic support. So it is essential to have to be able to appeal to both sides.
I agree.
The independent's like
vote.
24%, and then the Democrats like 60. Sorry.
Let For the Win have his time.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pulling for you, Andy. You seem like a cool cat, and you got a long hill battle against these Democrats down in that district. So, I think it'd be awesome if you got a Trump endorsement. I mean, he doesn't generally do that to independents, but you seem like a very strong candidate, maybe stronger than Gonzalez potentially. But I think that'd be a goal. It would go a long way for your chances. So, appreciate your time, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you. On that, I have good relationships as a local municipality with the Republican representative in our district. I don't have any, straight connections to Trump, but I do think there are Republican endorsements that I can win in our district that could help, cross over and get Republican support. But again, we're gonna have to get both sides of the aisle to win, and really. I think it's that centrist pull that has to, disassociate themselves with the party and start voting people instead of party.
Yep. And when it comes to that endorsement, all you have to do is ask. That's all you got to do. So
good advice.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes we are afraid to just ask for things. You're right. That is how you get them.
I'm not.
Yep.
That's how I got here. I just said, may I? Mr. Balderson, and then I do have one more backstage, which we'll switch him out with Ant here in a moment. But Mr. Balderson, question or comment, please.
Yeah, I liked a lot of what you had to say. You seem like a good guy, but I expected as much since Omar's working with you. Omar's a pretty brilliant guy, so I would assume that you would be pretty good if he's going to deal with you. Would you be willing to try and spearhead constitutional amendment that would get rid of Citizens United and limit campaign funding?
It would be
because you'd have to overturn Citizens United at the Supreme Court, so you're going to need to do that constitutionally.
It would, yeah. I mean, that would be, it would achieve so much. I mean, first of all, like I was saying, it's very hard for independents to win these elections because it's just the money, right? And it's just the powers that you're going up against is it's an uphill battle. I mean, ending the foreign influence would be the first step in that, and then ending it altogether, I think would be an admirable thing to push forward. So I am currently self-funding my campaign, as I mentioned before, for the large part, and don't even want to ask for a lot of favors. I'm not out there asking for money. And if others, would do the same, I think it would, I think we would get better candidates than just, the money and the influence, they put, the money puts their candidates in place. And we've seen that in primaries now. I mean, I think someone, Thomas Massey lost a primary race where there was something like $30 million spent against him. Right. So, I mean, you can buy seats. I mean, that is a possibility. Right. So, I mean, it's, I don't think that's the people's will. I think that's the money.
Yeah. It is possible to, go against that in today's world. I think social media grassroots campaign, obviously mainstream media is never going to be on your side. Jesse Ventura back in what was that, about 98, ran a similar campaign that was grassroots and off very little of his own money. When he became governor of Minnesota, he did that off very little money and no backing whatsoever. Would you so the bill you were talking about with the thing you were talking about with limiting the bills, Rand Paul has often brought up in Congress. He calls it the One Subject at a Time Act. And this is something that he receives very little support in. Would that be something that you would want to work with him on? He already has it where obviously, it stops the omnibus, it stops adding in everything else. Once you get down to the brass tacks of what just that singular bill under that name is, they're usually not that complicated. Exactly. They make you muddy the water with everything else.
I would support that absolutely. Same, it's restore America. I mean, that's Ron Paul is one of our, I think he is one of our strong leaders. I mean, he's an independent thinker. I would get behind that and support that wholeheartedly. Yes.
All right, and then just lastly, you got pretty squirrely about 2A. And that's pretty interesting. You hold a lot of very pro people and pro constitutional ideals, but your example, that you understand that the 2A was in order to combat an oppressive government. So if we have to have pea shooters and they don't, that defeats the entire shall not be infringed thing that was written in there.
Right. No, we support the right to bear arms. It's the main that made me a little squirrely, and where my thought is just, it is when we have, there has been an issue of mass shootings in America that I think is undeniable. I don't know what if there is a solution for that. So that's only what made me unsquirrely.
I understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I just wish there was some, but it's it's not the gun.
Well,
it's people, right? I mean, what is this? I mean, is there a solution for it? I don't know.
A little bit of this is just that trickery of how to lie with numbers. So when they count mass shooters, the vast majority of those are murder suicides. and so then that gets counted in the mass killing statistics. So it looks way more overbloated. Most people automatically assume school shooter or something like that, when those are very limited cases. And when you start isolating it down to those limited cases, then we do start noticing disturbing trends, like every single one of them was on heavy psychiatric meds, things like that. These people were already having issues, already being watched by the government, already being interacted with by the FBI. You can look at this case over and over and over. So there's definitely things that could be done. We could see what's going on, but disarming the American public, that definitely is not the thing. And when you look at countries that have taken away their rights, when you take away the gun crime goes down. That's true, obviously, but every other crime goes up. It's in America, and you don't necessarily want to walk into somebody's home because you might find a 12 gauge up against your nose, and in places where they don't have guns, that's not a problem. You don't worry about those things. Hell, in England, you don't even have, people can't even carry knives to protect themselves, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, my squirmish response was not anything that, I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. That's it just came down to, it makes me uncomfortable to think of, of what I just shared before. I mean, Benjamin, maybe you're saying maybe the numbers are taking out of proportion, but when you look at, America does it have a gun violence problem? I mean, it's a fair discussion. That's all I was saying, but it's not
definitely a fair discussion.
The solution isn't taking guns away from people. But just, it is, it is a it's a more frequent tragedy in America maybe than it should be. And if there was a solution to it, that's all I'm thinking. But I don't have it. I don't have that. Mental health is a big thing about it. I think, Ben, you were kind of touching that too, right? I mean, it does seem like most of the shooters are have some deeper problems that that if we could help, we just need to help. We need to love all people. That would cure a lot too, right? I mean, that's the solution. If more people had all these outlets and solutions and support systems around them, we would probably see less of this crime. But it's not. It's not in any. I wouldn't be in any stance to get rid of the Second Amendment or anything like that. So I hope my response wasn't taken with that consideration.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your answer and your time, and I definitely agree there's a mental health crisis in this country that needs to be addressed. There's no doubt about that. We had just as many guns per capita, 40 years ago, but didn't have this problem that we're having. So that's obviously there's a mental health issue. Thank you for giving me your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. And Adam, welcome back, my friend. Go ahead with your question or comment, sir.
Thank you for letting me back on the panel, Sarah. Sorry for my call the other day. My question to you, sir, it's great to talk to an actual political candidate for once than the TV. I have a habit of yelling at you guys. What are you going to do to combat socialism? Because I think that is the biggest problem in America on the rise right now for the Democratic Party.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a capitalist all the way, right? So, I mean, if you look at my background in my industry, I support small business.
I don't mean to cut you off. I did some homework.
So this is where I support our economic growth, and I think this is essential. So, I mean, these are some of the fundamentals of what I stand for. I mean, of course, socialism, there isn't really any successful example of socialism that has worked, right? I don't think so. In many ways, I do think I have, maybe I have more, definitely more in line with the Republican growth on the economy. But just was swearing allegiance to no party, ever, so it's really an issue by issue. And there are plenty of things I think that the Republican Party does not get right. So it's, it's an issue by issue, but the opposite of socialism. I mean, capitalism is the only way, and that will continue to be the way of America, and how I think America has grown to become the superpower it is now. We got to keep it that way.
I absolutely agree, but you're also in a very difficult position as an independent, because not only do you got to compete or contend with Republicans that might not agree with you, but you're going to have these extreme Democrats that are definitely not going to agree with you. And I think that's going to be your biggest uphill battle. Now, I don't think all Democrats are evil people, but the ones that are winning right now, they don't care for America in any sense of the word. So that's where my question really lies: is what are you going to do to try to keep the balance?
I mean, we're gonna support economic growth. I mean, building, economic, has been the core pillars of where I've been in my local commission. I've been one of the most spoken, ambassadors for our development here and for our economic growth. And I want to take that on to a grander scale with the district. So it's and supporting, policies that I said before too, and we're limiting the government, and we're supporting the private sector, and we're putting policies in place that help the private sector. I mean, I think that's what we need. That's anti-socialism right there, right? I mean, that's government making policies to make a stronger private sector. That's what we need. We need the government to be there to make small business owners stronger, to make entrepreneurs stronger, to make companies stronger, not the opposite way around, not for the government to gain power of these businesses and development. So of course, 100% there with you. Capitalism over socialism any day.
For sure. My last question, and I gotta go. I just wanted a quick chance to talk to you. Is would you reject an endorsement from Trump if he did offer it, given the stigmata that will come with it?
No, I wouldn't reject it. Of course not. But at the same time, I also wouldn't reject an endorsement from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. So if they want to say that they get behind me, sure. Thank you. So I would welcome. I would welcome that endorsement if it was a possibility. I mean, it would be awesome to see a lead figure in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party endorse an independent candidate, right? I think that would be a true testament for their character. I don't know if we would see it. I'm just trying to remove myself from that. But, these people, like I had mentioned before, we'll see. I mean, I have a representative who's a very good friend of mine. I mean, we hang out. We've worked together. We're good friends. Would he even endorse me? I don't know, because, he has a party, and there's a Republican candidate, and, you're going against the system, right? That's how they keep their strength, by staying together and doing things together. And if you break from the party, they break from you. So let's see. I would welcome endorsements from officials on Democrats or Republicans. If anybody, had the mindset and openness to endorse an independent candidate, then I would say that person is okay. I think they're open-minded, and they're also, maybe they're okay. They're registered with the party for whatever reason, but they're strong enough candidate to welcome a free thinker if they can get behind them.
Well, I hope you make it. We need more open-minded people in government. I think that we've got very closed-minded, really just everyone's in their own camp kind of thing, and nobody can come in the middle to at least meet each other halfway and have a discussion. Not that we have to agree, but just to have a conversation. I think that's the biggest issue with politics today, is everybody's so tribal with everything. So I really appreciate what you're trying to do, and I hope you succeed and don't fall into the traps of politics, because it's murky waters. They don't call it a swamp for nothing.
Exactly. Like I said, I would accept the endorsement, but I'm not for sale. So, we're not going to just, take endorsement, money. I
really respect that, though.
Yeah.
I also wanted one last thing to Sarah. Thank you again, not just for your service, but for allowing me on the panel. Hello, everybody. Hope to do it again. But I gotta go. I just really glad I caught a chance to say what I needed to you today. So thank you again, Sarah. Thank you, sir. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Have a good night, and I can bring Ant back up. And what I'm gonna do is I've got about 40 minutes and then I'm actually going to bed. I haven't slept since yesterday. So I'll allow you guys to open up the floor. I can be incentivized to go longer, but it's going to take some extra incentivization. Okay. And you know what keeps me going awake and making more coffee. Now, what we'll do is we will go into open panel, open floor. I'm all about everybody asking their questions, so on and so forth. But as I said before, I'd like it to be respectful. It's not blood sport. We're not there tonight. Please don't make me go there tonight, and don't make me have to yell at you because I'm not in the mood and I'm incredibly tired. So Croc comes in with a big 10. He says, support to the channel. I'm for body cams, but they aren't cheap. I'm willing to do that knowing taxes will go up slightly for the cost. Are you, Clay, or anyone else? Clay, you're being called out, my love.
Yes. Personally, I don't care where how much money. Like I learned in 2008 through 2010 that the bailouts it really opened my eyes for the banking system and what's really happening. Geneva, the World Bank, all that craziness. It's crazy. So especially I'd like to point this out for the candidate on the screen as well. I know that he's a financial guy. He's into real estate. That's his thing, right? So I'm sure that he's familiar with the banking system and a lot of the challenges with being conservative in that nature, because I know Kraut's conservative. But personally, I don't care how much money is that you spend as long as you're doing the job correctly. But what that means is that you're not overspending. Right. So whatever the body cams cost, yes, but don't charge me more than it costs.
Sarah,
any one lawsuit would cover those body cams that they ended up paying for. Just one lawsuit.
Sarah, after you ask everybody this question, I assume normally you do that. And if you do that, I would like to expand on this further after you ask everybody's input on this. God damn, I don't know how to talk tonight.
Are you talking about on the body cam?
Yes. The question is, I'm for body cams, but they aren't cheap. I'm willing to do that knowing taxes will go up slightly for the cost. Is anyone else in agreement with this?
Yeah, you can kick in at any time when she read one of those, man. And I was kicking in with the lawsuits that these police have to pay. Body cams would have, or at least could have prevented that. Even one of them would pay for any township's body cam. And money is not a factor. If you look at it that way.
Well, I would say that the war on terror was $300 million a day average for 20 years. So probably it would only cost about 2 days of our international wars to cover all body cams for all police officers, both local and federal. I would say 2 days of no foreign wars, probably. But I'm not a mathematician.
And I would say that the militarized equipment that the police have been getting, rather than looking like fucking Barney Fife going out there looking like Rambo. They could maybe hawk that to some, civilians that want toys and use that to pay for it.
Yeah. There was a story today about some guys, some SWAT team went to this 78-year-old grandmama's house, knocked the door down with battering rams and all of that shit because of Find My iPhone thing there. And they were like, they had to justify all this equipment and Bearcats and shit they got. Yeah.
Well, if you ever walk around with a gun, right? Like if you walk around with a gun, you have a gun. So you're like thinking like if you walk around, for example, with a bag of candy, you're thinking about eating candy 100 times, 200 times a day, right? So you walk around with a gun. So these guys are sitting there training SWAT with all this military equipment, sitting on their ass. So as soon as there's a call, they like load them up, I understand, but at the same time, not as a citizen, that's like bullshit.
Now, I do want to recognize as well that Andy obviously wants to represent his voters, right? And his voters in the 24th district in Florida, they're going to tell him, one thing, and I want him to honor what he's being elected for, right? So his voters are going to say exactly what they want him to do. with that said, there is a morality, there is an ethics, there is a principles to what it is that he's being elected for, right? And primarily that's the Constitution. So if we're talking about the Constitution and the people's rights, and this is why I brought up the accountability thing and Florida banning the ability for cities to make police oversight boards. I mean, I don't personally feel like the police oversight boards do as much as I wish they
They're
could.
pretty worthless, yeah.
But they do get that body cam.
Yeah,
They
better
do
than
get that.
nothing, yeah.
Did anybody else have an answer to Kraut's question? If not, I wanted to let him expand on it the way he wanted to. All right, go ahead, Kraut.
Yeah. So, basically, when I brought that up in the chat, because Clay and Andy were talking about it, you got to put me and Andy next to each other so people can see the resemblance, Sarah. But so I put that in the chat.
Anything like him?
So
not even close, Kraut. Not even close.
Andy's got a much more pronounced chin.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take it off.
Andy looks like a grown-ass man.
I was wondering this whole time why Kraut had a boy band picture up on his face.
I see. That's me now. That's supposed to be me, man.
Yeah, not even close. Kraut, I think you need to get some glasses, or maybe if you have some already, get them fixed because you are so far off.
That's funny.
It's not even close.
But
go ahead
I'm gonna
change it. It could be a worse photo. I'm not offended.
But yeah, so there's some people in the chat saying that no more taxes or body cams aren't needed just to be lawfully. So I guess, Andy, to really ask you a question, because in today's modern age, our politicians are representative for taxes. I'm pretty sure. So like I believe taxes for roads, schools, body cams, like I just said, and I know other like I said, people in the chat are saying no more taxes. Like could you name a couple other things that you would tax as a representative besides like schools and cameras, like I just stated, if you could?
What you would tax? I mean, look, I think I'm also support for low tax. Of course, one of the things that I think Florida is doing great right now, no income tax. And in November, if you've heard or haven't heard, it's on the ballot right now to even remove property tax. Meanwhile, Florida runs a surplus. They run a surplus in the budget, right? Despite not having an income tax, right? So it is possible. I mean, states like, then you have states like New York and California. I mean, they have a 10% income tax and they're running a deficit, right? So it really comes down to smart spending, efficient government, shrinking government's role, and letting the private sector grow. But of course, I'm also an advocate of supporting lower taxes and more freedoms.
Right. And I'll say two things real quick, then I'll let other people get in on this tax conversation. Well, one, I got a cousin that lives in Miami. I never heard of you before. You seem like a cool cat, but I'm gonna ask my cousin about you and like tell him, hey, he was on one of my YouTuber shows. He seems pretty cool. What about him? But so I'll give an example of how representations for taxes are pretty important. This is the latest I've heard of a scandal. It's an outright scandal. Gavin Newsom is trying to do some shit where he's trying to push taxes to pay for like 20 million diapers or some shit like that for families that can't afford them. And that's obviously a scam. And people didn't vote for that shit. They didn't vote him in as a representative to apply those type of fucking taxes. Excuse my language, Sarah. To apply those type of taxes that is obviously, again, clearly a money funnel system. But yeah, that's why I brought up taxes, and I wanted to get your opinion. But I'll let other people wing in on this.
Hey, Kraut, wasn't that exposed that his wife was in charge of it and like funneling like 30% of that money to other things? Didn't that just come out?
You may be right. Like I said, I read.
Yeah, I think that just came out. His wife
ago.
was in charge, and there was like 30% plus misappropriated of that. Can you imagine? The fucking nerve.
There's the
this was with the diaper scandal, like the
diaper thing.
The Democrats
stealing
and
money from the diaper fund, bro.
The Democrats and the Republicans together put a bipartisan act to try and audit California because of all the money that's disappeared, like the hundreds of millions for the homeless, and Newsom vetoed it.
I bet.
Yeah,
he don't care.
That's crazy.
Andy, if you commented on the war, I wasn't here to see it. What do you think, man? What do you think about what's going on?
About the war, I mean, I'm against it. I'm against almost every war. You know, like I said, obviously, it doesn't want to be taken as a sign of weakness. I think that was one thing Sarah was asking. Like I said, yeah, if there's someone on our land and it's a real threat, you know, I'll join the effort and fight with them. But I mean, when we're fighting wars overseas and being told, you know, certain things that we don't know is true, you know, and I'm not against that.
I love it. Where you at on the immigrants, man? If you spoke about that, probably, I'm sure.
No, that hasn't been asked yet. Look, I think America was founded as a nation of immigrants. I mean, my grandfather came here, right? My wife came from Europe. I mean, through the system legally. She's a citizen now. But yeah, we need borders. I mean, we need, you know, a nation isn't a nation without borders. I think we need to come through the system legally. You know, we need to continue to encourage that. I think that is the foundation of America. So
all right, let me get into detail because I thought I had you read with the first half of your answer. Now I'm not sure anymore. The guy, he's been here.
Your meter's off. Your meter's off, Joe.
Right. The guy who's been here, I don't know, let's say 10 years, you know, kids in school, he's got a business, broken no other laws, but came here definitely illegally. Kid was, say, born here. What are we going to do with that guy?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, look, if he's been here for 10 years and there hasn't been a cause of problem, I'm not for breaking in and pulling this guy out or anything like that. You know, but
quick path to citizenship type shit. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's a tough question, you know, because I do think America needs to enforce, you know, there has to be a policy to legal immigration and it needs to uphold that.
I agree with that part, but the other thing, the reason we're mad at him and the reason it's only a misdemeanor entering this country is because he skipped through the vetting process. 10 years without breaking the law is a great vetting process. We have no argument left anymore if the guy been here that long and is, you know, joining society.
He's not a threat. He's proven not to be a threat and just wants to achieve the all-American dream like everybody here. I mean, right? I mean, that's, again, would like to see them come in legally, of course. But again, wouldn't be, I mean, that guy who's been here for 10 years with causing no problems doesn't, you know, I don't think
it's your heart. All I'm looking for, buddy, is your heart. Everybody, every politician, man, you're gonna have to make some tough decisions. I don't care. There is no just do what the voters say. You're gonna come into play at some point. And if you believe in the gain, you got to play the power game. And in order to get this vote, I got to do this thing and that thing, which that's what politics seem to be to me. You play the game. So it's most important for me to know your heart, which is, I guess, the most concerning shit to me is I think that you're one of those guys that are gonna just follow the law as opposed to your moral heart. You seem like a really cool cat, but that won't come into play if you're one of those, hey, that's the law. For instance, I don't know. There's a million laws.
Examples of this.
I can get into something because I know Joe, you're gonna be long-winded. I want to talk a little bit about the Terry stop.
Did you just say Joe can be long-winded?
And then say Terry stop. Like we aren't in for a half-hour lecture about the Terry stop.
I mean, you're bringing up, that was some.
Damn it, Clay.
Go ahead. That'll do it, though, Clay.
But that's the right one, right? That's the right one because there's laws now surrounding the Terry stop. It literally abuts the Terry stop. It's stop and frisk. It's all these pat down laws, right? And essentially the tenants for the Terry. Sorry.
You familiar with Terry stop, Andy?
Yeah, the stop and frisk. I mean, is that what you were saying? The stop and
Yeah,
frisk? Yeah, I mean,
the pat down.
so is that one of the? Is that an example that you're?
That would be an example
this is
that
a
you
perfect
just get to stop my movement. Constitutionally, you would need probable cause.
Probable cause.
Not probable. You need the other
on a
one.
warrant or signed.
The big one, whichever. Probable cause is the big one. Yes, to even stop my movement and you know, stop me on the sidewalk. So this is straight really far from that. You get to stop anybody and pat them down and all that bullshit.
If I could get into this a little bit, because
didn't the Supreme Court rule that?
Yes,
that
that's Terry versus Ohio, right?
Terry versus Ohio. So man, 68 or 69, I think.
69.
The Supreme Court decided it was a mere inconvenience.
Mere inconvenience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only, I get to touch you, but it's only mere inconvenience, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So the tenets of the Terry stop is similar to a civilian arrest, right? What's a citizen's arrest? It's very similar to a citizen's arrest. Like if you see something, you can actually make a citizen's arrest. A citizen can upon like a felony, right? Like if you see somebody shooting somebody or whatever, you can actually, as a citizen, I can actually grab them and stop them and then restrain them. I would actually end up having to fill out paperwork and all that at the end of the day, blah, blah, blah. So it's very similar to that. The tenets of the Terry stop make sense, but the case of Terry was actually not a good case to base the tenets of Terry on. Terry was pacing back and forth in front of a jewelry store, and the cop saw this. He said, I believe that Terry was about to commit a crime. And then he was patting him down. He put him up, did the stop and frisk, patting him down, found that he had a firearm, and then later found he was a felon. And so because of this, officer safety was born. So the idea that he actually needed to take the gun away from Terry and put it to the side, make sure that Terry wasn't dangerous as a criminal, identify him, make sure he is who he says he is, finds out he's a felon. Now he's actually, it's like a pretextual stop, essentially, at that point. It's an emergent circumstance because the cop believes he is about to commit a crime, is committing a crime, or will commit a crime in the future. And that the tenets are fine, but just like Terry, it's being abused. So the cop will stop and tell me I can't go anywhere because I'm holding a camera, right, in a public building. This is one of the problems that you'll see with First Amendment auditors. The people in the building will call the police, and the police will come and say, there's a guy here with a camera. The police will come, and the people will tell the cop, well, it's against our policy. Well, the cop says, all right, you can't go anywhere because I have to make sure that you can be in here. Well, the cop, one, should know the law, right? He should actually already know the law. How do you feel about creating like a PB 101, PB 102, PB 103, etc.? How do you feel about the police being held to a higher standard than the regular citizen because they should know the law versus the lower standard that we're actually seeing in the country, where when they commit crimes, they actually get lesser sentences, lesser punishment, and quite often it gets overturned at appeal because essentially what we're seeing is that it does go up. The DA didn't charge them correctly, so it's a technicality. They get off, and then they get all their pension back. They get all their
let's don't forget the part where you say when they commit crimes. Most crimes will never make it to court. They will be covered up 87 different ways.
Let's also not forget the part where Clay said that Joe was long-winded.
Let's also remember that Congress, the only effect Congress has over anything like this is like a federal purse strings. Like Congress doesn't unfortunately have the ability to affect stop and frisk on a state level, local level, only on a federal, and they could potentially threaten to restrict funding for that, but it'll only affect federal because they did that before, I believe, Clay, right? And then states were funding it in general. There was this big thing during Obama, I thought.
I don't want to defund the police. That's not my.
No, I know you don't.
No, I mean at all. I want them to get as much money as they need, right?
No, I'm saying Congress only has the ability to do one mechanism, defund.
It depends. If he's fucking federal Congress, he can vote on laws and change the Terry stuff.
It's based off of a federal case. It's literally
No.
based on
Congress
the
can
Supreme
only
Court
vote
case.
and affect that by funding. Congress affects funding.
Well,
Congress
they
writes
affect
laws.
too. Yeah, they write laws too. Criminal code. So that's why I was saying PB 101, PB 102, PB. So they should be held to a higher standard, right? On the federal level. Right. So on the federal level, creating U.S. code that actually holds them accountable on the federal level, saying you're a cop. You should actually know the law, yet you aren't upholding our rights. You are breaking the law.
I see what you're saying. They can affect, that can affect purse strings if situations occur.
Right now, all we have, by the way, is I think it's 242 and is it not? No, it's not. Yeah, it's 241 and 242. Right, conspiracy to commit and
Deprivation of rights.
Deprivation of rights. That's all we have right now. The rest of it, we don't have anything to hold them accountable.
But I have $20 in my pocket. Tom Carpenter comes in with a big 20, says zero trust, never trust, always verify. A paradigm from network security, a great philosophy to apply to AI and politicians. Any thoughts there, gentlemen?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I don't know shit about AI, but I don't trust it.
That's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, that's a great movie.
Agreed.
And Hurricane says with another 20, says no more cameras, no more taxes, live morally, lawfully, and protect yourself. Well, how do you hold on a second? How do you enforce morality?
Well, we know how to protect ourselves, which is the last thing he said.
Yeah.
As long as Andy keep taking our ARs, it will never happen.
I mean, it's not like this is an impossible situation. This goes along hand in hand with the mental health situation that we have in our country, because historically there's been high trust societies where this was not often a problem. Of course, there's always the occasional deviant, but the occasional deviant and what we have in today's society are two entirely different things. So there's apparently some things that need to be addressed before we could ever reach that, including accountability, honor, and actual intelligence, like what Sarah was talking about earlier, where the average American reads at a 5th grade level. That's their comprehension. Like, holy shit, that's absolutely insane. Have you looked at what 5th graders read? That's absolutely insane. You shouldn't become as an adult, you shouldn't degenerate to little kid thoughts. Like, that's wild. And so we as a country need to be addressed in that way, where we're and that's I think that all drugs should be legal. But I don't think we as a country have the ability to do that right now. We would implode. But I think it should be that way, but people also should be accountable.
Andy. I wanted to get him in anyway. Andy on what Bartison said, he thinks all drugs should be legal. And I'm jumping on that because that's my control thing. You are deciding what a man can do, what he could do, whether, what do you think about Bartison's all drugs should be legal?
All drugs? I mean, is it legal for anybody to just to be able to do heroin, recreational heroin if they want to?
Smack. Yes, let's stick with that. Yes.
No, I mean,
why do you assume it would hold on though? Why do you automatically assume it would be recreationally? Like myself, I live 2 hours from the grocery store. If something happens to me at my house, we have to deal with it. So we keep different things around. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to keep heroin around, because if I break like just a couple months ago, the bolt sent me flying 10 feet in the air and I landed sideways across some angle iron and broke a couple ribs. That hurt a little bit. I wasn't being an addict,
little bit,
but I could, a little bit.
Broken ribs,
but I couldn't. I'm adult enough to understand when something's messed up and I can use some relief before I go driving across the mountain through mountain roads for 2 hours to get to a hospital.
You needed opium.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's all heroin is a derivative, is a extract. It's
more refined. Yeah, wasn't it a fucking cough syrup way back in the day?
Hold on. So Andy, basically, what Ben is saying is you presumed recreational use only, but I think Ben is adding the caveat that it wouldn't just always, people typically assume recreational, but there are other medicinal purposes that Ben is referring to here.
Yeah, that I wasn't aware of with medicinal purposes of heroin, but
Opioids.
Potentially, then I need to be
real
educated on that. Yeah, but it's not like
So you
I
do
don't
know
think it should
about
be criminalized. No, I don't think drugs is then if there's an issue, I think if people need help, I don't think you should be operating any car under any info of using any drug. Okay, that's a crime. But just the use of crime, no. But is it to recreational use or? I mean, but then to recreational use, all drugs probably wouldn't be supportive of, and but medicinal use, okay. But you'd have to educate me a little bit more of the medicinal uses of heroin.
Well, that's what the cards are normally for,
opium.
right?
Heroin is just opium derivatives. So back in the day, laudanum, it was called laudanum, and now we have Oxycontin and all the other opioids. And the only difference between those and heroin is a slight molecule adjustment. So that way they can patent it. And instead of being the plant medicine, which is doing basically the exact same thing. So you understand that they have all these prescriptions are just a derivative of these actual plant medicines, and the plant medicines you can't patent.
Yeah.
Andy, are you familiar with morphine?
Not first.
Do you know what it is?
Yes,
I'm not
I know
asking
what it is. I mean, my
morphine's derived from heroin.
If it comes from the earth, it's generally okay. If it's made in a lab, that's potentially questionable.
Question.
Man-made, no earth, God-made, okay.
Opium in Afghanistan is called taryak, and if you haven't experienced it in the raw form, then you should. But one thing, guys, don't you guys all? This is a question for everyone.
The opinions expressed on this panel are not necessarily those of the show. All right, continue.
Right.
Where it's legal. But here's the question. In America, we have crazy amount of drug use, like prescription drugs, right? Psychoactive drugs, SSRIs, all that shit. You guys realize that as a country, we would fucking implode immediately if people would have no idea what mixing. Like, you take an antidepressant pill that you've been on 12 years, and even if you mix it with alcohol, you have a big problem. Imagine someone decides to go and mix it with, what's this? Oh, it's cocaine. Oops, it's ketamine. And you know what I mean? Like, we're on I would say that we have to clean up our pharmaceutical addiction in this country first before we open up to the plant medicines, which I think would be the future of our country. Like, everyone I know is on everything.
That's what I'm saying. We would need to have a transition as a public.
Transition is a great word.
Responsible enough to do that. But I think ideally we are a responsible enough public that I can manage to not have things around my house. I can have a bottle of Everclear that sits in my house and I only use it for cleaning things. Somehow I manage not to go chug it. That it's the way it works.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. You do things responsibly. That's what being an adult is.
Andy, what if Ben, because he has them broken ribs, he went out and got him a bag of smack, but he's an adult and he's using it for pain. When he get caught on the street with that bag of smack, it's a big bag. He way in the country. He's got a really big bag. How much time in jail do you give poor Ben?
Jeez.
Well, he's not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer.
You have to make in Congress.
He writes the law.
No,
he
it's
can
not.
get bit off right now.
One thing we have to consider is the distribution. It's the distribution. So I actually thought about this recently because I have somebody that wants to do this debate prompt, and I was thinking who would be against legalization of all drugs, because I have two people that want to do the legalization. And I was thinking, well, what would the argument be, right? And it's not necessarily the idea that if I was like Ben and had opioids sitting in my house and I use it on my own time, on my own way, yada, 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 that's one thing. I mean, there's no reason the cops are going to come into my home unless I'm doing something actually illegal outside of my home.
I had to drive to the house with this shit.
Let me get to my point, Joe. All right. But it's the distribution thereof that is the bigger problem, right? But what if you grow the shit yourself? Just like Andy said, if it's comes from the ground, so on and so forth, and you know how to process it and turn it into whatever it is you need to turn it into. That's one thing, right? Because you're doing something within your own home. However, not the average crackhead knows how to grow crack in his own home. Okay.
I don't know if
they don't know how to make it.
Poppies
They don't know how to do it.
if I was a heroin
I know how to milk everything. I can milk anything. Poppies, no problem.
My point is this is where the distributors come in, and this is where things go black market style. This is where fentanyl gets fed into things that kill people get fed into things. People they're not utilizing the drug as a way
Good point.
that it's meant to be, right? Because if you were, you would be home growing it. You would be processing it yourself. You would have an appreciation for the medicinal purposes of it instead of just going and seeing Joe Blow down on the street corner and say, give me my smack, right? There's a big stark difference between the distribution and somebody growing pot or something in their own home.
I want to ask you what that distribution looks like, but I want to give you a second to think about it because I want Andy.
Did he cut out?
A little bit.
No, you cut out.
Probably a sign. I don't think
very
that
good.
is for us to be talking about like drug policies all day. Like Congress doesn't really.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I wouldn't. I would need to know the whole. I would need to know the entire argument. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, I wasn't even trying to make this side quest. I was just using it as an example of what we can't have because we're an irresponsible society.
Here's a question for Joe.
Too is much like marijuana. The plant is not legal. The plant itself, right? So what the federal government has done is they actually have illegalized or criminalized the actual growing of the plant itself, which is insanity.
Crazy.
They start telling the people that they can't grow a plant.
Well, and so this comes down to my right to privacy within my home. So we have laws in place within our amendments that are reflected via the Supreme Court that show like what somebody does within their home is not the business of the government, right? Behind closed doors kind of concepts. This is why gay marriage was kind of like okayed later, because it's like, look, if you're gay, like what you're doing that is gay is within your home. So why are we
argument, Sarah.
Why are we investing ourselves into the homes of people? We should only be concerned with what people do outside of their homes that reflect on public space or interfere with other people's rights.
I would say
let Andy address it. Let Andy address it, please.
Well, there are some things in the home that you
Brick, I see you every day. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you let Andy address it? I see you all the time. Yeah.
What's the question?
Yeah.
She's asking, when going to people's home, what if some guy Ben is making the poppies at home? To stick with our analogy, what do you think about somebody going in there and giving them time for that shit?
I mean, why
Bro, you got to be more specific. You're asking.
I don't. Apparently, he's answering the question already.
Legal search and seizure,
apparently, it worked. It worked well. He was.
You're not going to get someone to come on here and just be like, "Hey, what if all of a sudden?"
No, really, he was answering it before you interrupted.
Seizure. Which one is it,
Andy?
Yeah, I mean that's where my mind was too. I mean, why are we just randomly searching people's homes for things? Right?
Yeah,
So,
you saw the poppies there in the backyard. Make it easy for you.
A congressman saw the poppies in the backyard of someone's house.
You had a
talking to Andy, pimp. I love you, but
I love you too. But you got to be specific.
Yeah,
I don't really. I don't. If I were talking to you, perhaps I would have to be.
Hold on, Joe.
1 second.
All right, I'm going to take hold here. Joe, what he said, what Shaman's trying to iterate to you is that your hypothetical doesn't make sense. Andy is not. Hold on, listen. Andy's not a cop. All right, he's running for Congress,
attorney.
Right? That's a totally different world.
I didn't know he wasn't a cop.
Listen, if you want to ask kind of like more amendment-based questions or things that surround more policy, procedure, so on and so forth, I can understand that. Right. But I wouldn't say like, oh, well, Andy, if you saw something in the back of somebody's yard, what would you blah, 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 because that's not the position he's going to be in.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Sarah, just one. I was
Great,
Joe, real quick. I
great
was
that
asking
you
to be
don't think my
specific.
question applies
Can you
and
be
you don't like
specific?
it. I
Because
could not care
Joe,
less.
we
I
don't
have
want
my
to.
own agenda
I
here.
do
I'm
care.
trying
I
to
do
find
care
out the
because I'm the one
man's
who brought
heart
it here.
below
So
me
your
and stop
question, you need to
interrupting
be very
me.
specific.
All right.
Meaning,
All right. All right. All right. All right.
I will be specific for
clip
him.
this shit out of order and
I
ruin
got
the
you. I
entire
got you, Omar.
campaign. So I'm asking you, Joe, as a friend, give specifics so we don't get clipped out of the wrong way. That's all.
I know what his argument is. I will actually ask it the way the policy fits.
No, I love Joe.
I'm not interested. Stop disregarding me like I'm not here. I'm not a fucking child.
Sarah,
we're talking about you. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to talk to Andy, and you niggas want to interpret for me. That's three people so far.
Hold on. All right, stop, all of you. Now, number one, I said very specifically, maybe Joe, you didn't hear it, but one thing I did say earlier was we're not going blood sport tonight. Number
This
two,
is me being kind as fuck, yo.
Hold on, please, Joe. Number two, I'm incredibly fucking tired, Joe. I haven't slept since yesterday. Okay, that's why exactly I said we'll only have a specific time, and you have very limited time left right now. So I think what we're asking is to be concise and order it in such a way that Andy can reflect on what you're asking. He's not a cop. He's not a lawyer. He's not in that realm of things. Put it in a place where he would have something to say to it. Not what if, right? Don't put him in a hypothetical. Ask the policy question.
No, thank you. I'm sorry. Andy will run into real world people at some point. I'm sorry, but it's her room, Andy, and you don't have to ask the question. And I'm not going to take the time to rephrase it. I'm an adult. I'll ask the way I like.
Hey, Joe, cool. Can I ask you a question real quick?
That's good.
Kind of
Ask fucking Sarah if you can ask her.
Omar, hold up real quick. Joe, cool. I assume you generally, I like Andy. He seems like a good guy. I don't want to scare him off these panels. So
nor do I. That's why I was being kind. I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
not
sorry.
being
I'm
kind, bro.
sorry.
You're kind of
I'm
getting
sorry.
bent right now, man. Just calm down a little bit. You know,
I had four people in
your voice. Just calm down a little bit.
Wait, I'll smoke. Let me smoke some.
I like the panel. I like the discussion.
No, Joe's
I appreciate.
awesome.
Yeah, everybody's been pretty cool.
I just don't want to be the reason why Andy gets clipped out of context, Joe, because they're going to be trying to get him out of the left and the right. They're going to be looking for anything, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry. He can
I
be
love
a big
you,
boy.
Joe.
He'll
What are you
have to
talking
make his
about?
own
I'm saying be
decisions, or
specific.
Sarah have to cut me off. No, he'll run into this in real life. It's a great test. This is the softest place to run into it.
Joe, there's a guy that taps Arnold Schwarzenegger on the back whenever it's time for him to move on and stop talking. He literally has a guy to tap him on the back to move the fuck along, right? That's what a manager is. Listen to the manager.
I'm doing that right now.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool, Omar. I didn't know you knew politicians like that, man. That's what's up. You're Andy's manager, right?
Campaign manager.
Campaign manager. Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's really cool.
Wait, is that the guy I was yelling at as his manager? I apologize if I was yelling at his manager.
Hey, look, Omar, I'm running to be the leader of my household. Can you help me out with that?
I don't think Andy's a politician at this point, and I don't think we want Andy to be a politician.
Omar, again, I apologize.
No, Joe, hold on real quick. Let me and Joe, one second, Clay. Joe, you're literally one of my favorite people here. I was just trying to, because the thing is that they're going to be coming both ways. Like, for example, just today, we had a meeting in a big law firm. They're like, oh, we'd love to have lunch. We know they want to go this way. We have a meeting tomorrow. They want to go. Everyone's trying to throw money to buy him
you don't
off,
have to
and I just don't want him to get
it. You're a man, and I would respect your decisions, and you're the guy to make them. Had you said that, whatever reason you had would have been cool with me. I understand, and the one you gave is great. I want to say I shouldn't have yelled at you, but I just thought
Joe, that's why you're the shit. Don't worry about that crap. What are you talking about? No, I was just saying, like, ask the specific details, because we go in general. They go, look, Andy Daro wants to legalize all search and seizure, or Andy Daro wants to. Then we get screwed.
I understand. I'll divert period from my shit. I only got one gear, and that's probably it.
Yeah, he's all about marijuana. He said plants should be legal. And follow that train of thought where the guy's at, but it's too early for us to
I
You know, they're
understand
going
it.
to come
Earlier,
after
I
him.
had that thought myself. I would screw myself. I like the cat. I would be angry at myself, which is why I would have deferred to you
All right,
anyway
Joe.
if I knew you was fucking manager. Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
No, we're
All right.
good, man. Don't worry. We're good.
I never really did get a response on the Terry Stotts stuff.
Very good.
Joe, Ben, you're muted.
On your point about lowering costs of housing, where would you stand then about rolling back regulations? Because one of the biggest driving factors in building these larger, more luxury houses is the regulations cost almost the same to build that house as it does to build the single family dwelling, which they're going to make almost no money off of. So what's the point when all that's going to cost them? All the red tape BS is going to cost them the same. They might as well make the more money since they had to put that in. You're muted, sir.
Agreed. Yeah, that's what we had spoke out before. Remove regulations of building approved projects, right? I mean, one of the ideas too is all cities have kind of like an impact fee, they call it, or like, you know, when you get building, you know, maybe the local municipalities, federal could for approved projects, the federal's matching this impact fee for the developer, so it lowers the developer's cost to build these projects, making it potentially affordable to build, to be profitable rather to build affordable housing. I think that that would be the goal, to find ways that developers can build affordable housing profitably, and then the private sector will build it and the people will get it. I mean, that's what we want.
The problem's
But
probably
you're
the
right.
red tape, right? They could pull it off, except someone is going to say we can't have that zoned here. We're going to need 18 permits. It doesn't have the proper lag bolts. It's going to end up looking like a real freaking $1 million house before it gets to the government.
That is what happens, and it's the same for small houses as big houses, basically. So the developers would rather take the bigger money, of course. It's bigger return on investment.
Yeah, I think there's builders and developers for all products. So, there are plenty of builders that are building affordable homes. And if we made it even more desirable to do so, they'd probably put out, more developers would enter this field, and more supply would be created. So it's entirely possible to, have bills that are going to incentivize developers in the private sector to do this. And that would be one of my biggest initiatives. I think that's what people want more than anything.
How do you feel about flock cameras?
What cameras?
Flock
cameras.
It's
the cameras that they have set up for the AI for the speeding tickets and stuff.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I'm not an advocate of over surveillance or Big Brother watching you everywhere, right? I mean, we need our privacy.
Bless
you. There may be certain circumstances where it provides safety. I think that's been brought to me. I mean, we've even had that in our local municipality. Like, this is like, these cameras are strictly posed on the street to pose X, Y, and Z, and it's it's bringing safety. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that's becoming more relevant now with Palantir and all the extra surveillance we have.
That's what it is. They're loaning it out to other people, and other people are getting to use what their technology.
Private industry.
Yeah, I think this brings us to that broader conversation of the balance between security and liberty, right?
Yes.
Benjamin Franklin has the famous quote: "Those who would sacrifice essential liberty for a little purchased safety deserve neither." Right?
Yeah.
Deserve the knife. You said
deserve
neither. I thought that was Thomas Paine.
No, that's Benjamin Franklin. Neither.
Okay. Neither.
Neither.
Oh, okay.
Neither. So essential liberty.
Oh, the 9. Oh, yeah.
Right. Essential liberty, not just any. Essential security. Essential. You got me fucking on this fucking quote here. Those who would sacrifice essential liberty for a little purchased safety. Okay.
Right.
Purchasing safety is one of the pastimes of American hope for the future, to secure a future for our posterity, right? But you have essential liberty. Now, what liberty is it's like when sailors are on a ship, they request liberty, right? And that goes into the petition part we talked about earlier. where we request certain laws to be written to regulate our government. We have a liberty here. That's our rights. And so protecting our liberty, our rights, when we sacrifice the essential ones. Now, not all liberty is the same, right? I can ask for liberty to go do some horrible shit, but that's not lawful. The essential liberties are lawful. So when we sacrifice our rights, which is those essential liberties, the regulation on the government for a little purchased safety, that is these flock cameras to surveil us, Big Brother watches us, then they get all our personal information. I take my credit card out of my wallet. Guess what? There's a camera watching, goes into a big data center. And by the way, we got to pay for that as well. So we're paying for our own demise at that point.
They're also locking people up off of them flock cameras because they make mistakes and they're not double checking. They just going by what the computers say, raiding homes and doing crazy shit, finding out the cameras got it not wrong.
Yeah, the safety and security would have to be clearly out and undisputable, I guess, for it to make sense, right? I mean, if there were undisputable safety measures that were added to the public by putting this camera here and that was explainable and agreeable, then yeah, okay. I mean, we can probably get on board with it, but otherwise.
But that is the inch by inch that they've taken, like something simple like seatbelts.
I get
at
it.
one point was that thing. Like now the government says I must wear a seatbelt because the government says I need to in my own car doing what I'm doing. And now they get to track me and everything else. And along with these flock cameras, they're also coming out with trucks that record you and report and everything. And as these guys said, there's already a bunch of civil suits out there because the information, sometimes for them 2 and 2 equals 5.
So another amendment, and this is actually what, if I could have you take anything away from any of this, it's going to be the constitutional application, right? So the weight here, right? So you weigh that safety measure against the Constitution. It's the Constitution that contains the Bill of Rights, our rights. And so when you're talking about the Fourth Amendment here, we're talking about the right of the people to be secure in their persons, papers, and effects, unless a warrant's written upon an oath or affirmation. So that securing of the person's papers and the person, paper, and effect, that's our job to do that. That's not the government's job to secure our person's papers and effects. Right. Now, we do sometimes, even still, like for an instance, privacy redactions are because of the fact that we allow the government to rule certain aspects of our lives. If we didn't allow the government to do that, guess what? No privacy redactions necessary, right? But we do. So, yes, there are certain places where privacy is important, but we, the people, need to know that you have our best interest and that if you're going to take up the task of securing our person's papers or effects while the camera's looking down on us, that it's written into the code of that security that even the government itself doesn't have access to it.
Constitutionalist, and we're constitutional first, American first. That's we gotta follow that. And also, you guys brought up good points too. Trying to lead with morality too, whenever possible too. So I mean, that's also to keep that. That's part of how I operate, and I hope.
You can't outthink them. You're gonna have to outheart them. You're gonna have to go with your gut and do things. You won't be able to outthink them. You're gonna turn into a trickster like they are. If you try and be as wise like a serpent with some shit.
This was.
He's gonna end up like Cynthia McKinney.
Clay, I'm surprised you.
Crowd, did you want to say any final words before you head on out of here, bud?
Yeah, same.
Crowd?
That's pretty funny with your response, Sarah. I'll say that. Second, Andy. Man, it was great having you.
I enjoyed it. Thank you guys.
This wasn't a normal debate thing that we normally do, so I don't really have any closing. I'll just say to the chat, if I can, anybody that doesn't support taxes, you're a moron because you clearly don't know how cities, states, or even the government itself works. We need taxes, but we need representation. Hence the famous quote, no taxation without representation. And like we stated, Andy and all the politicians are our representation. We need taxes. We just don't want taxes for dumb shit. And Andy and politicians are supposed to represent what we need the taxes for. Basically, Clay can support that. I mean, me and Clay agree on a lot of shit. We just don't agree on the rights thing. Have a good night.
All right, I'm going to have to come back sometime and check out this gauntlet thing. Enjoying some of this conversation.
They can't save
Boulder.
you there, bro.
Thank you for that,
Don't
Boulder.
be careful.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy it.
That's the one thing everyone's agreeing on. You sure about that?
Good one.
All right, let's go ahead around the room. Sorry for the people in the back, but I am not in any mood. I am pooped out. I've been up since yesterday, and I'm not going any longer, nor am I taking any more
Andy's
questions.
still up. Andy's still up.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I thought he was dropping. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sarah.
Everyone's gonna give their final thoughts and say their thank yous. Clay, would you like to kick us off, sir?
Yeah, I sure would. I'm really happy to have been part of this. This was a lot of fun. This needs to happen more often. I think that folks like Omar, who know who's running and have interest, they can talk to their candidates and bring them on to their social medias to talk to their people and then be able to broadcast it. This was absolutely amazing. Like I said, I've been to a town hall before, and I was able to talk to my congressperson, which was really awesome. Talk to her about some of the similar things with Andy. He's an independent. He does have his own mind. I think that he's really shown that today. He's looking at things from not just the legal and lawful standpoint.
Official sign off.
Go ahead, Clay.
And the constitutional aspects of it. But he's also looking at things from a financial aspect. He's also looking at things from the morality and the principles, the ethics. I really believe that he's actually looking at these things from the view of the people. I think that's what he really has to do. And it's like I mentioned to him, I understand that he has to look at it from his district as well. So the 24th district is his district. We might have our opinions out in our districts of what we want for the country. And that may actually play a big part in what he decides ethically, morally, principally, but he has to listen to his voters. And so because of that, I expect him to. I would not expect anything less from a congressperson. He shouldn't be a politician. Don't be a politician, Andy. Whatever you do, don't be a politician. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Andy. And thank you to the panel and everybody watching. And you guys, just so you know, you should absolutely 100% support Sarah in this. She didn't have to do this. Omar didn't have to reach out. If you can throw anything her way, if you like what Andy had to say, throw some funding toward him and his campaign. Support where you support, and that's really all I got. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Clay. We love you. Calvin, to you, my love.
Yeah, I'll keep it short for you because I know you want to get off. Thank you, Sarah. Unfortunately, Andy's gone. He's gone. So, Andy, if you're listening, thank you for joining this dysfunctional family, and I hope you enjoy.
No, this is the best family ever, Calvin. What are you talking about?
Big wreck. Certainly eclectic for sure.
It's like someone took a bag of Skittles and a bag of M&Ms and threw them in a bowl and said, "Go."
Where else could you?
Where was Effigy tonight?
Effigy was
He was in the chat earlier.
Okay,
he was in the chat earlier.
Could have used him. All right. Thanks, Sarah.
Absolutely. And to you, please.
Thanks for having the panel tonight, Sarah, especially given how tired you are. Thanks for everybody who showed up. Thanks for Andy for coming over. It's interesting to be able to have direct access to even an aspiring politician like that. Anyways, everyone else, thank you for your supporting the channel, and don't forget to tip your Sarah on the way out and fuck off.
Thank you, Ant. For the win, your thoughts, please, sir.
Thank you for staying up with us, Sarah. We appreciate you. I know it's been rough, but Andy, it was awesome having you up here. I appreciate everything that you've said here tonight. You know, we got to learn a little bit about you and everything. And go USA for the World Cup. We had a big game against Bosnia, like you said. So
let's go.
Yep.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for the win. Mr. Joe Cool, your final thoughts, please.
To you, Andy, kind of what Brick said. His last words were, "Don't be a politician. I am so afraid from you. You seem like a nice guy, and I am so pessimistic when it comes to politicians, man. It's like it's nothing but demons and shit out there. And I think it's because it's control. It becomes a game of control. I think that's inherently evil. I know it sounds like I didn't fucking hear none of the conversation. I think this is important, though. The game you go on into is control. It's like heroin. I fear for you. Good luck. God bless, man."
Thank you, Joe. I got Ant, right? I got For the Win. I got Joe. I got Calvin. Mr. Balderson, to you, please.
I really appreciate the time you gave. It was an excellent talk. Like I said, I expect what's what I expected out of somebody that Omar is putting up and wanting to endorse. So, and you didn't disappoint. I really appreciate how much thought you put into everything, and this was a lot of fun. It was great meeting you.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And Omar, your final thoughts, sir?
I want to say thank you all, because I'm on here a lot, and everyone's a familiar face, and I know how crazy we can get. But I also know how much we care about things, right? That's why we all talk and move through arguments and move, to and fro. And Sarah provides us with that opportunity. And so Andy's like one of my closest friends, and he's the type of person we need, because he's just balanced. You know what I mean? He's just like he's like the real deal, right? That's why you have people like me who I can filter through all the corrupt parasites because I can smell them. You know what I mean? So we need filters and layers, right? We need filters and layers, and we need points where we can like put our feet in the ground and make some changes. And so for him to like come in and have 3 distinct bills, that are going to be proposed on day one provides a level of transparency, right? And it becomes news like, are you voting for or against the End Foreign Influence Act? Well, apparently over 84% of Congress is voting for it in their pockets right now, right? So we have to, they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. And that's what we need to do. We need to start bringing some sunlight onto this situations. And it takes a certain person who's going to jump into the fucking Thunderdome of that parasitical entity, our current status of what I would consider as the best system ever created is the American constitutional republic, right? And so, and Sarah, I want to say thank you. All of us. I wish Spin was here, that would have been awesome.
Backstage, but he didn't make it in time to get up, and I'm not taking any more questions.
And Sarah, I appreciate opening like this. And we're in the Congressional. One last thing, we're in a and Joe, we're always cool. Where's he at? Anyway, we're at a very serious point in our history right now, and a lot of people, like voters, are going into the independent, even in their own minds. Everyone understands that this 2-party system is really one party, and we're moving in a very bad direction. So start paying attention, start seeing in your congressional districts if there is an independent candidate. And if there's not, there should be, right? So motivate somebody who's the best person. Motivate the best person to take action, and then support that person. Because we have 50 states, we have 500 congressional seats. It's not that crazy. And so what we're doing is getting behind all the people who are going to go forth with what we're doing. We have an amazing the campaign is going to be crazy. The market is going to be strong. The endorsement is going to be powerful. I can assure you guys, as I say it right here, timestamp this. You have not seen a campaign like what's going to come through here. All right? So buckle up. And Sarah, and I look forward to bringing the debates here on this stuff. Let's get this congressional debates going with the 2-party systems, independent candidates, and bring them into the blood sports. This is going to be we're in a congressional election year. It's showtime. Let's do it. Because no more pretending like we're different. Oh, I know what you mean. No. Let's show them for what they really are.
Fair enough. Let's OTVO. Shout out to you, sir, with the Big 20. Always listening. Happy to see Andy also brought his ears. Win stream. Happy tomatoes to you, OTVO. Shout out to you. And Andy, I reserve the final thoughts for you, sir, to the panel. Take it away.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone's time and conversations and thoughts and support. I was warned that this was a tough crowd, but everyone was very cool. So thanks for either taking it easy on me or
I told them to.
just, yeah, well then thank you, Sarah. You lightened up. It was it was fun. I enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll connect more again in the future as we move forward to November. So thank you.
Most certainly. Thank you to everyone on the panel for your kindness and being respectful to the guest. Of course, this is different from our usual, and I appreciate you being able to kind of maneuver along with me so that we can do some different things like this and have some more variety packs instead of just yelling at each other all day. It's so much more fun. All right. A shout out to you, Andy. A news to you. I'm going to actually clip up this video, make a regular one, and you'll be able to download it and put it on yours too if you want. But since we had that little fire alarm thing, I'm going to clip it, make it pretty, and make it just one video with just our interview. And if they want the whole thing, they can come to this one.
We have an idea who did that to us. We have an idea.
Sprinkler gate.
one of those things. Yeah, unfortunate, but thanks for carrying the conversation while we left. And
yeah,
joint conversation was fun.
It's totally okay. It happens. But shout out to all of the Maters who wanted to come hang out tonight. And of course, I hope we get to do more of these opportunities. And again, if you want to talk about Vegas, we got some upcoming things, and I'm going to talk about what happened and all of those things over at the Sleepy Tomato this weekend. So you have to be subbed up over there if you get the notifications, and then I could tell you all about the Mater Meetup upcoming. All right, everyone out there in Mater Nation, I love you so much. You are amazing creatures. And fuck off.